All right. Welcome, my
Hey,
friends,
we didn't
and
make you
welcome
cuss in
back.
the first 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Now, I'm this close. You guys keep talking over me. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
We're fucking slacking. That's what we're doing.
Wow, there it is. 13 seconds. Welcome back, my friends, to the Krieg Dominion. I am Omar Krieg, your Lord and Commander of the Krieg Dominion, and I have no freaking control of what comes out of anybody's mouths. Most importantly, not even my own. We are here to play Alien RPG. This is Beyond the Frontier, episode 3, entitled Brahm's Outpost. And with me today, of course, are my favorite face-hugging characters. Nope. Face-hugging player characters. Nope. Face-hugger shooting player characters. There we go. I think I got it right that time. Rodance, Luke, and Kane. Let's take a brief moment, check in with the three of them. It has been a couple of weeks because somebody had to go and take a big brain test last week. We'll talk about that in a moment, I'm sure. But let's start with Rodance, who did not take a big brain test, but does have big brain moves planned in the near future.
Yeah, I officially signed paperwork to transfer my work location from North Carolina to Maine.
That is going to be a big brain move, for real.
This is my third cross-country move, so it's like I am so excited. I got relocation money, so it legitimately means that I can afford to throw away everything I own and just buy new furniture. I am so happy. You don't understand how awesome it's going to be to be able to move and not have to worry about moving a bed, a couch, basically anything other than clothes
Have you
and
ever
some
had a
board games,
DoD
my
sponsored
cats.
move?
No.
Do you know what gypsum means?
Other than the material that is used as an element in certain types of old
That's
school
gypsum.
insulation. No.
Gypsum, of course, is an acronym that I'm not even sure what it stands for, but it's at least here in the Pacific Northwest, the installation I was stationed at. They're the office you go to and you're like, I'm getting reassigned to another location. I want you to come and box all my crap, throw it on a truck, and drive it out there. And then when you get there, unload it, unbox it, and put it all away for me. I'm just
Man, I
saying, I
wish
know that feeling, and
I
it's a
was there.
wonderful feeling when you don't have to worry about
Yeah.
any of that except for making sure your shit shows up unbroken or missing.
Honestly, at this point, I'm literally going down I'm gonna take like 2 suitcases of clothes, a couple of boxes of like craft supplies and board games, and my cats.
And
I'm
your
not taking
cats.
that. I'm not taking anything else. I'm gonna buy furniture. I'll buy kitchen stuff, and I'm like, they gave me a not small amount of money to move, and I'm selling a house and then getting an apartment on the other side. So I don't have to come up with money either. So I just have relocation money to spend.
That's
It's
good though,
great.
because
I
now
have to
I feel
stay. I
like,
have to stay at the company for 2 years if I don't want to have to pay it back. But trade-off.
yeah, I mean, but in this job economy, who tries to join a company and not leave? Wait, yeah,
Um,
you know what I'm trying to
I
say.
have this transfer because they tried hiring since before Christmas and could not find a single candidate up there because they
Is
wanted someone to be locally because they wanted 100% in office. And they tried hiring for 6 months and found zero acceptable candidates. So they turned around and offered it to our entire team. And I'm the only one who took the relocation.
well,
Big brain.
the lack of relocation interest is understandable, but the fact that nobody locally wanted that job is curious
Oh,
to me.
It's not surprising.
it's
No.
second shift and in the DC.
Oh, yep.
I have to go. My job is on the computer, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
required to go in from 2 to 10:30, at least 10:30 at night
Mm-hmm.
in the DC, and I'll be sitting in the office portion of the DC doing my job.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, it's
So,
also you got to figure like how many people are you working with to find somebody who's IT and in that field and has any relevant experience.
Yeah.
It's a low population to find that.
and
That's a
willing to
fair
work
point.
second shift permanently on site.
Yeah, that's a fair
That
point.
let alone the scheduling issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
They literally are flying a different person up from the team every week just so they can have bodies on site to help them. Yeah.
they're probably going to save a boatload of cash by having somebody there on site permanently.
Well, the two people who were in that office are both on paternity leave, and one's on paternity, the other one's on maternity leave.
Right, right.
So,
That's cool that people are getting paternity leave. Just
oh yeah.
Is it the
personal
same
opinion.
kid for both?
No, it's actually funny because the gentleman, Brian, his wife took maternity leave first, and then when she had to go back to work, he took his paternity leave. So that's that many more months the kid doesn't have to go to daycare.
That's saving the family and making it easier on them. I'm
And it
totally
lets
down
them
with
have a
that.
chance to bond with the kid.
Absolutely.
So I'm told that a lot of people like doing it that way.
It's
And when
certainly
both parents get it.
it's certainly a good way to go about it if it's an option. I've never had that. Like for me, I mean, my youngest is 11, so go back 11, 12 years, and men getting paternity leave in the military was a fairly new idea, and I think the most I got was like 10 days, maybe 14 if I got lucky. Yeah,
When I got out, you could get 2 weeks.
yeah, it's not a lot for the men, and but also like in the military for the women, I'm not sure what the paternity leave thing looks like for women.
Maternity leave was basically an automatic bye, you're out.
I don't know. I don't know what it is for women. I think they get a little bit more wiggle room, I'm sure, because of, postpartum and all that. But I honestly don't know.
I don't remember how long it was because it wasn't really my problem. But I
Yeah.
know, I mean, I know people that could ask. I just don't care.
Yeah.
Is it 10
but
days per kid?
I will say it didn't seem like it was terribly long compared to what a lot of civilian entities are offering. What'd you say, Luke?
Is it 10 days per kid? Because you could combo this.
Take 40 days off because I got 4 kids.
It's 12 weeks, by the way. That's what Google says.
For the military?
And it's for both now.
Yeah, they've definitely gotten a little bit more user-friendly than it used to be.
That's still bad.
Yeah.
But
that's way more than when I was in.
Yeah, a lot more. It's like 11 and a half weeks more, or no, 8.
I happen to know there happens
I
to
don't know
be
what math
several
is.
European countries that offer anywhere from 6 to 18 months.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yep. Well, speaking of 6 to 18 months, actually, it was just the shittiest transition I could possibly come up with. Luke, tell us about your big brain testing that you had to do last week. Well, you don't have to tell us
Sounds like
about
I'm
that.
going to jail.
Yeah, right? What's new and exciting for you? You don't have to talk about your test if you don't want to.
Yeah, actually, I did an exam last week and then this week, and passed with like pretty good colors, I guess. Not the flying colors or anything, but
they were kind of wiggling around.
They were wiggly. And a little flag. And that means that I'm going to college in September, so I'm pretty happy with that.
That's awesome. And what do you? I think I've asked this before, and I'm probably gonna ask multiple times again. What are you looking at getting into as far as your collegiate affairs?
So it is software development and programming, I guess.
Okay.
It's French, but it's all programming is in English, so I mean it doesn't really matter.
Right.
Yeah.
And I do remember I have asked you before because you gave me a very similar IT sounding answer, and I just couldn't remember it. But don't expect me to remember nothing. That's why I have to take notes all the time, and I never do. Speaking of notes, let me go ahead and plug OneNote here. It's a great way to start getting your notes organized. I've started tinkering with it. It's very interesting, and I love the fact that you could literally just click randomly on a whiteboard and start typing things. And then later, you could tie those individual things together or move them around or, index them as you see fit. But I just started tinkering with this, and I kind of feel like I started tinkering with this, ironically, because of the whole vampire thing that has kicked off in the last handful of weeks on my server. I started taking notes and putting some thoughts together, and I was using OneNote because I'd been wanting to check it out, but I didn't want to deviate from all the other things I had. So I'm not necessarily saying I needed a new project, but I needed a new project. So
you're using OneNote now?
For that project, yes.
Okay.
But as it turns out, that
It
project...
sounds like he just wasn't taking notes before to me.
I mean, I kind of was, but they were very haphazard and very half-ass. Speaking of half-ass notes, Kane, what's new and exciting for you? Listen, I can pull transitions out of my ass all day long. They'll never make sense, though.
I think Rodance is the only person who takes more meticulous notes than me that I have met in a game.
Didn't you and I have a conversation not long ago, and one of the answers to a question that was pondered was, I'll have to check with Ro. She takes much better notes than you or I.
It was something specific. I wasn't sure if I'd taken that particular detail down or not.
Actually, I think it was regarding Pike, one of y'all's conversations or something. I think. I could be wrong.
It was what did did she ever get around to doing the armor art, and what was it?
Yes, that's it.
Hmm.
I've got my doctor's appointment to get the rest of my paperwork together to try to see if I can improve my VA rating.
Nice.
I'm gonna have to drive 2.5 hours to get there. And it's I don't know how to pronounce it. An esthetician, whatever, like a plastic surgeon,
Okay.
because apparently he has his general medicine license and he likes to help out veterans.
Fuck it.
So it's gonna be a strange experience to be in that waiting room.
Yeah, it could be. It could be, but I think it'll be worth it in the long run.
If I get my money, then whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
I got most of the shame beaten out of me.
There's still some shame left in you, is what I'm hearing.
I mean, I'm still alive. There's gotta be some shame left.
Please report for corrective brain surgery.
Hey, as long as they're not loaning out ice picks for your noses and tear ducts, you're probably fine.
Now, that particular line was in reference to the other game that he and I are in. About, oh, you still feel shameful? Maybe you need more corrective training.
Yeah, that's my update.
All right.
Next session, I'll probably have a funny story about the waiting room and the doctor.
I can't wait to hear it. It'll be interesting, I'm sure.
Whose
Speaking of
last
our
name
next
has, like,
section,
whose
sorry, go.
last name has like 20 letters in it. I can't fucking pronounce it.
Hawaiian or Thai?
I think it's Indian.
That was gonna be my next. That was gonna be my next guess. I was literally sitting there going, "Hold on, there's a couple others I can think of. What are they? Indian."
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, speaking of next session, next week we may or may not be here on Tuesday. We may or may not be here on a Monday instead. Once we switch to Mondays, we'll be on Mondays forever. Well, I guess maybe not necessarily forever, but for the long term. This is, of course, due to some scheduling conflicts we've run into because somebody decided they wanted to move up in their job. I'm not looking at Rodance at all.
17 grand pay raise.
That's a big jump.
Oh.
That's a nice jump. I apologize for all my shit talking, but that's what I do. I'm a Libra. We shit talk and flirt. That's about it.
I think Omar just wishes he'd accumulated that much of a pay raise since getting out of the army.
I think my military pay has been about 17 grand since getting out. That's not entirely true, although maybe it is. I haven't crunched math on that in a while. I'm scared to because of how low that number is every month. At any rate, let's play some Alien. Huh? Can we do that? All right. Previously on Beyond the Frontier, we're going to do another cold open because why? Cold opens are awesome. We wake up as the ship comes out of FTL. The crew begins waking up. You're in the outer parts of the Brahm's Outpost system. That's not its official name. That's the name of the outpost itself. This is actually KOI 817.01 on the map. It is somewhere... Oh, it's like right here, it looks like.
Yeah, we were going to Gorham's mining colony.
I thought that was...
Yeah, we're gonna go.
I thought that was after Brahms.
No, we're going to Gorham's first because they wanted to. We started with Platts because it was the smallest, and they decided then they wanted to go check out the mining rather than going to Brahms. And do you remember the horrors of accidents in minings that I sent you the video for?
Yeah. It was actually really freaky shit.
Do we need to
There's a bunch of that.
retcon something?
Do we?
No, it's just Brahms is not
I-
the cold planet, not the mining planet. Gorham's
I-
is the mining planet.
I thought
Yeah.
we were going to Brahms.
That was the last... Listen, I want to be clear. I could do either one. I really thought we were doing Brahms, though.
I have the last note in mine is we were going to Gorham's. So if I wrote it down wrong, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure we're on the same
Alright.
page.
Gorham's.
Captain
Gorham's. Hold on. So Gorham's is the one that's like the 2 million people, right?
Yeah, that was the
Yeah.
one that had this...
I think that's why we were going to do that one last.
Yeah. To give the
Yeah.
captain a
Okay.
chance to warm up to it. That was my understanding. Captain Luke, that's not your name, but you know what I mean. Captain Warren, where are we going?
Okay, so there was Platts, there was Gorham's, there was Brahms. Was there a fourth location?
Nope, it was just those three in your initial orders or whatever. And you've
Yeah,
completed
see-
Platts. because you got Volcanodon.
Because Gorham was the 2 billion people, right?
Correct. Gorham had the 2 million colony mining and all that shit.
Yeah,
Brahms is
and
the
then
cold
Brahms
one.
was a cold one that didn't have millions of people for us to get
Yeah.
murdered by. So I believe we're going to Brahms.
Okay. All right. Then in that case, we
Am
will
I
continue.
incorrect?
No, I mean,
Okay.
if
In the
that was the
end-
last thing I heard was Brahms.
In the end, your opinion is the only one that matters.
Yes.
It's your ship.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Okay, so with that in mind, I'm gonna give you guys a handout. Just a brief moment while I look for it. Oh my goodness, what?
Take it out, please.
Oh yeah. I'll have to take out a battery.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's Brahms. All right, in our Discord group is a PDF for the Brahms handout. Hopefully, I don't have spoilers in there. Hopefully, I cleaned them all out. But as we did last time, we are coming out of cryo sleep. So, is there anybody that wants to talk to anybody? As we're
I get
coming
to make
out-
my "Am I a human person" roll
Oh,
today.
yes, you do need to make your humanity roll. It's not a humanity roll, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I'm waiting for me to fail an empathy roll on one of these days.
You will.
Oh, since we rested, let me clear out my stress tracker first.
Yes, if you have stress or injuries or any of that, clear it back out to default zeros.
Oh man, I passed it.
Oh, yeah, there it is right there. Wow. I don't know why my brain did not register that actually. Oh, because the last one was an observation roll. Okay.
Damn it, I'm not a problem.
I'm not a problem child.
Look, we're 3 sessions in, and I haven't been a problem yet. So I'm
Stop counting it. Stop counting it. Let it be. Let it
okay,
happen.
we are
Just
session
let it
47
be.
or 46, excuse me.
Alright, yes, this is true. Yeah, so we come out. Some quick notes for the viewers. We get to my stellar data. We have a single supergiant white radius star. Excuse me. Wow. A single supergiant white star with a radius of about 0.8 astronomical units. This thing is massive.
It
It is
big.
roughly 80% the size of the distance between our sun and our planet. As far as the size of the star, there is one terrestrial planet, 2 icy planets, and an asteroid belt. Obviously, this planet you're going to, by the way, is at the core of the system. I don't know what the distance would be for all the other numbers to equal out, but just assume habitable range or whatever. The planet size is about 7,000 kilometers in diameter, I believe, with a 0.7 gravity. The atmosphere is a little dense. It's a bit cold. There is no water. The water there is frozen. So in order to get to it, it has to be warmed up. Geysers or steam geysers, or clawing away at the ice. Day length is 26 hours, and 610 local days is your orbital period. There is apparently an abundant and complex microbiology centered around volcanic activity.
Well, I wonder if we get to have a hot springs episode here.
We might. I don't know. What do you want to do? You're still on approach. You've got approximately 1 day until you are in orbit around the planet. Unless
I'm
you
gonna
want
go
to
down.
jump around or jump past that. You have some time on the ship to hang out with each other, your NPCs.
It's gonna take time to get there from where we came out of from where we came out of Faster Than Light or
Yeah.
Near Light, whatever.
Yeah.
So
I usually
I'm gonna
plan
go
it
down
so
to
there's
the,
like about a day from when you guys come out to when you land. If you
Which
haven't
means-
noticed.
which means I don't have a job right now. So I'm gonna go to the vehicle bay and just work out.
You're gonna go down there and work out like the Titan you are.
Well, Pike's trying really hard. He's like, I need to exercise because otherwise I'm pretty sure I will die. Like some part of my brain will just have an aneurysm and I'll die. But he's also trying to like if he knows there's other people around, he lifts lighter. And then when he thinks he's alone, he actually pushes himself.
Okay. I'm trying to remember where all my hold on. Why does my mouse wheel never work when I need it to? Where is this guy? Is this the guy? Yes, that's the guy. Okay.
Oh, and you know what? I think as a project, because I know somebody mentioned fucking around with a coffee machine, I'm going to try to put together something to use as a punching bag in the vehicle bay down on the bottom deck.
What's that got to do with a coffee machine?
It's my personal side project.
Ah. Okay.
One that'll survive being punched by Pike.
I mean, yeah, that's
Yeah.
so.
There's probably like a metal core to this punching bag.
Probably.
It's just metal wrapped in duct tape.
It's just a padded pipe.
Yeah, it's literally just a
Been
big
there.
honking piece of metal, maybe like a single foam core thing, and then just duct tape.
So as you're down in the, I believe you said vehicle bay or something like that, working out,
Yeah.
beating
be-
up an ad hoc, not ad hoc, what's the word? A makeshift punching bag. There comes this kind of a big grizzly guy. He's got a bit of a beard. It still looks like he doesn't have a mustache. Let me double check that. Oh no, he has a mustache. Okay, good. So that would just give me more fuel to make fun of him. Anyway, big dude, dark hair, beard. He's kind of jogging by, and he's wearing what appears to be. You would recognize them as UPP PT clothing, but they're like a generation or two old.
Yeah.
And faded. And maybe some, small holes or something. Like, these have clearly been worn for a while. And he's just kind of jogging around the ship. He's doing what Charlize Theron did in Prometheus, working out through the ship, running through the ship. Later, he's going to do push-ups in his personal quarters. And then go
You mean the
fraternize with
bunker room?
somebody. But he sees you. He stops for a moment. You make that yourself? He's got a thick Russian accent that I cannot seem to emulate right now.
Yeah.
You mind I take swing?
Push up. I'll give it a shove and then step back. Have that.
He trots up and he does a couple of good shots, and you can tell like he's got some experience with throwing a punch. Maybe he's done some like amateur boxing or something previously, 'cause just based on the way he moves. The other one's dead too.
That's the same one. That battery.
How did you get a bad battery out of the? Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I'm totally distracted with my kid trying to figure out how to change batteries. Did you put the battery in right? Okay. Well, let me see. Sorry. Stand by. I'm doing psychosurgery on a VR controller. Oh,
I'll be a minute. Cheese string.
Shit.
Yeah, see,
Stupid
I
game.
just was over here petting my cat, so I caught a cute picture and sent it over to the Discord. She actually let me give her belly rubs for more than like 2 seconds for a change.
Yeah.
Did it buzz?
It just buzzed, yeah.
Oh.
So you maybe you had it in backwards. Okay. Yeah, so he comes over, he trots up, he throws a few swings at it. There's a couple of good measuring jabs and then one solid hook. Repeats this a couple of times, like not bad. It worked.
Heavy.
It's what we've got right now, anyways.
He reaches over, sticks out a hand towards you to shake.
Take it.
Davor. You?
What did he say its name was?
Davor.
Davor?
Davor Koblitz.
Heath.
Let me see. I think he's listed as a roughneck. I feel like he's the
That makes him a mechanic. He's
Yeah,
one of the two
that-
mechanics then.
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
He works with one of I almost said one of
He
the
works with
Twins.
Nina
One of the
Westcott.
one of the Westcotts. Yeah. And he actually says that. He says I work with which one was it? Nina? Yeah,
Heath.
Finn is the pilot. That's right.
Mhm.
I work with Nina in ship bay. We fix things. You break them, we fix them. He's got a smirk when he says that.
Nina is the one with the coffee pot obsession.
There you go.
Well, seeing as I'm the scout, if I'm breaking shit on this ship, something's gone horribly wrong.
Well, you don't break shit. You break shit, I fix shit. No break shit, eh? There's the Russian accent finally coming out.
Yeah. Well, if you run out of shit to do, I'm sure I can make sure you're well employed.
No, job security, no concern. He takes a couple more swats at the bag and he's like, I see you around. I need to get out. I need to get him out there so I can drop that damn axe because I know it's not going to stick around. For those that don't know, I cannot hold an accent to save my goddamn life.
So is this you saying that we don't have a problem?
I'm sorry?
That's what Pike says. Is this you saying we don't have a problem?
We only have problem. You have problem. You have problem.
You know, I thought I might, but I might not.
Problems. We have problems everywhere. We don't need to add to pile.
I agree. I think I can agree with that.
All right. Maybe later you come by. I give you some of my vodka.
I'll think about it.
Uh-huh.
You have bad experience with vodka. Kick like mule.
I have problems with moderation.
Oh, the mule kicks back. I see. I see. God, I really want to make a stupid Mother Russia comment here, but I'm not going to because I don't think it would be fucking in line with the lore and shit. In UPP, we kick the mule, or the mule kick you.
I'm just going to pretend that made sense to me.
Like it was insightful.
I'm just picturing Heath just going, I'm going to pretend that makes sense. And Dumbledore's just like, it makes sense. Don't think too hard.
Wow.
Yeah. I think I could do that.
The other side of my accent problem is I can't fucking stop laughing at every fucking thing. Alright, I'm gonna go run some more.
I step back up to our punching pipe and I start punching
Our
it.
punching pipe. Anybody else have anybody else they want to talk to? I love how that's such an open-ended statement.
I have
You were
one, but mine's more of the I want to do sensors.
Okay.
kept.
Okay, do I have to be at the sensor station or can I do it from my PDAT connected to the ship?
Do you have there's that one talent, it's like remote operator talent or something like that, isn't it?
Yes, I do have that one.
Then yeah, with whatever modifiers that gives you.
Yeah, so I totally am just remoting into the terminal on the sensors.
You're
terminal
literally
on the
phoning in from
bridge.
your bunk.
And I'm not in my bunk. I don't ever sleep in my bunk, remember?
You're right. You're phoning in from some random location on the ship.
Yes, and I'm
I've got
doing
a-
the sensor scan.
I've got like an extra bag in her bunk because I know she doesn't use it. Because we're bunk mates.
Yeah.
And I know that the stack is
She's got the
basically
top
mine.
bunk, in fact, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And that's where you
No,
have like
he has the
you,
top
in fact,
bunk.
you don't have just your duffel bag up there.
No,
You've
let's
got
be
your-
clear. Technically, my bunk is the bottom bunk. He
Listen-
knows I don't use it, so he
So
sleeps in the bottom
just-
bunk and
He
uses
uses the top
for
bunk. And
storage.
your duffel bag is up there, but it's half empty with the other half of the contents sprawled out across the bed.
He's got his stuff out like in an organized fashion. I don't think he's capable of being a slob right now.
No.
But
But it's
like-
definitely not
but
still
like-
in the bag.
No, but it's definitely not still in the bag. He's using it as a shelf space if he's
Yeah.
just sleeping in her bunk.
Yeah. Got all her stuffies gently pushed off to one side out of respect, but no, he needs them out of the way.
No.
He's not
There are
messing
no
with her
stuffies
stuff.
left with my stuff.
Oh, okay.
The only stuffy I brought with me, probably from my siblings, is probably hidden in one of the nooks in the science lab where I occasionally sleep.
Yeah. In fact, that'll be the Easter egg for every episode. It'll be at a slightly different location. Viewers will be like, I saw it! Back it up! I saw it right there! Oh, damn it, it was just a microscope. Luke, were you trying to do something? Were you trying to talk to somebody before we do the sensors thing?
No, do the sensor thing and then I'll have my conversation with daughter, I guess.
Okay. In that case...
So what the plan is there.
Okay. In that case, what you got there, Rodance? What you want to do?
I just am doing a concentrated scan of the planet, see if I can pick anything up.
Okay.
I'm doing an active scan as opposed to the passive listening that we already get.
Okay. Were you looking for anything in specific?
Active signals.
Okay. Let me refer to my notes and see what I have in there for you. Let's see.
And when I mean active signals, I mean both the automated docking procedure and the actual signals that be generated from people actually talking and real life people doing things. Does
Yep.
that make sense?
Yeah. No, like active
Okay.
comms as far as like is people are there people actively communicating, and then of course active comms in the navigation sense where you'll be able to easily descend to the planet.
Yeah, talk to the planet's computer.
Well, that's a weird thing because all the navigation stuff seems to be there. You got 2 successes, so I guess let's say this takes you a few hours to figure out, because initially something seems a little bit weird. And you're not a pilot, you're not a navigator, but what you come to realize over time is that the navigation communications are, for lack of a better way to explain it, out of date. If you were to have followed the navigation instructions explicitly, you would have landed a few hundred meters off of where the actual landing pad for this facility is. With some corrections for updates in software, accounting for new variances in the weather, you're able to see that this minute error is because none of those updates were ever done in the last roughly 80 to 100 years.
So it's like the auto navigation beacons hasn't been updated in 100 years.
More or less, yeah. And let's call it 80. More on the 80 side than the 100 side. The active communications arrays and whatnot are receiving and sending standard pings and whatnot, handshakes or whatever, but there is no active use other than that.
I log a note for the navigation that the auto navigation is out of date and they will have to manually land.
Daughter immediately comes, or not immediately, but it takes daughter a few seconds and says, "Would you like to force update?"
No. I send a note over to the captain and I'm not going to force any updates. That's his decision, not mine.
Okay.
I'll just log a note for both the navigator pilots and for him.
Okay. So Finn gets the update, but more importantly, Captain Warren, you're probably plucking away on some update with ship's logs having come out of FTL and everybody's waking up. There's probably some sort of like post FTL checklist that has to be done and updated. And
yeah, it'll go to Dudge and Finn, not just Finn.
Yeah.
I would not have excluded him.
Yeah. You get a note after a couple of hours of some of this paperwork. You know, you've probably been up long enough to get a shower in, like a good shower, because you're the captain. People like give you a little bit of space.
I mean, he has his own fucking cabin.
Probably has his own shower in there, yeah.
He probably has his own shower.
Yeah. You know, you've had a little bit of time to, do a little bit of walking around the ship, make sure everybody's all right, and then you disappear and go get cleaned up. You take a, however long of a shower you feel is necessary after being asleep for several days or weeks. You're updating your logs, and then, a few hours after waking up, you get this weird anomaly note passed along from your resident doctor of sciences, Octavia Westcott. And you're looking through it, and you're like, that is a little weird that the local navigation system hasn't been updated. This local antivirus software is out of date. I should not say antivirus software because now you guys are thinking all kinds of shit, and that's not the case. It's still on Windows 9, not Windows 11. It needs to update.
That makes more sense. All right.
And that daughter, and also there's an appendix that Westcott logged all the stuff. Daughter suggested a forced update be sent down. but she declined it and deferred it to you.
Hmm.
So now daughter is kind of, not that daughter's a sentient thing, but like you could imagine that daughter's like, would you like to force the update?
Starts tapping her foot.
Yeah, her virtual foot, yes. And a virtual
Hmm.
construct. She's inside a 6-sided virtual construct, and she's just tapping her foot, like, any day now, as the milliseconds tick by.
Oh, it would be just devastating to be some sort of machine. Um,
Can you imagine
okay.
expressing your own understanding of time in milliseconds and getting frustrated because it's taking too long?
Yeah. No. God no.
4 seconds
I would
above
not want to do
minutes.
that.
3,987 milliseconds too many.
Yes. Okay. So if I push the update,
Uh-huh.
as my two wits character would say, does that mean that it pings the computer down there to do the update if it's
Yes.
even
So
available?
when it says force update, it's basically sending the patch and forcing the local computers to update. You know, shut down
Okay.
and or excuse me, restart and update and then reboot again.
I don't like the idea of doing that necessarily. So, I
To be clear,
uh
this is a semi-normal practice. Of course, this would be something that would be expected, like at a situation where you're coming on a colony that you have been at previously,
mhm.
and you know they're out of the for a colony that's out of the loop, maybe, but this is a
Yeah.
colony nobody's been at for like 100 years. If you one thing, if you only shot
Yeah.
by every so often, like every so many months or every couple of years, then you would maybe force the update because it's not really forcing it. It's more like they're asking for it, so just send it to them. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. But in this case here, it seems like touching it before we actually land might be a bad idea.
Checking
Is
things
it
out
gonna
on the
cause
ground first might be a better option. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, I'm gonna go up to the let's see here, the captain's console
Mhm.
and see if the nav and the pilot will have any problem with landing without the need of having the data, or they have the data and they can land
No, I think
correctly.
because Westcott, I think actually, yeah, I think Finn looks up at you and he's like, "No, the sister got everything figured out. We've got it adjusted on our end. We can account for the
Mhm.
drift and all that, so we'll be able to land with no problem.
Excellent. Then
We'll
we keep
be
it as
we can be
is.
on the ground in about 18 hours if
All
that's
right,
what you
great.
want to do. Otherwise, we could be in orbit in 12.
Hmm.
That may or may not have made much sense from a astro navigation sort of thing, but I imagine at least before going into or before going down to the ground at least once, you'll want to do a minimum of. I said that wrong. Before going down
A
to the
pass
ground,
by.
you're gonna want to do at least one solid orbit first. That's what
Yeah.
Finn is expecting.
Yeah.
You could in fact you could kind of see like a telemetry display of the ship, and there's like a line that goes to the planet and wraps around 2 or 3 times, and then there's a descent.
Okay. Yeah, we need to get some data on what we're looking for. We're looking for the colony, and I have all the other instructions that I need in our Discord chat. Sweet.
Yep. And one thing you would definitely have noted in Westcott's little report was that the active communication, like the voice networks are active, pings and handshakes and all that, but there is no actual active communication going on. Like there's nobody talking.
Mhm.
Radio
So
silence.
nothing's being updated. Everything seems like it's working, but
Yep.
okay. Okay, so now I just have to think of the crew. Okay. That's all for now, I guess.
Okay. It is in
Does
your
that
hands, players. What would you like to do next?
does anybody else come down to the vehicle bay to interact with Pike?
Would you like anybody else to come down? I could just dial up these
Um,
NPCs and send them down whenever you're ready. I could send them all
I'm
down.
just
I would
I'm
actually
just
go looking for
curious.
Pike.
I'm being a
Okay.
smartass. If you want a conversation with one,
Yeah.
please.
All
I
right.
think
So Octavia, it's easy to find me. You can hear the thuds.
So,
Okay.
after I do my work, of doing the scans and stuff, I will probably creep down into the vehicle bay because, I don't really want to interact with the crew, but at the same time, I don't want to be alone. And I figured that Pike is probably the safest person to go sit near. because people don't mess with Pike,
Except
and
Yeah.
Pike
Russians,
doesn't
apparently.
always expect me to carry a conversation.
I mean, he'll see you. He'll give you like the nod acknowledgement, but he also doesn't know how much engagement you want, and he's out of respect, he's going to keep doing what he's doing.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm doing sciencey things, sitting in like Pike's aura of it's like having company, but quietly. After I finish the science bit, I'll finally look at Pike and look at the. Are you actively punching the punching bag you've made, or are you starting the project of making it?
I mean, he's made it. He's been hitting it.
Hmm.
He's you're finishing up your thing. Maybe he's backing off so he can do some burpees or something. God, I
I
hate
said,
burpees.
You're trying not to
oh
burp.
God.
I'm trying not to die inside as a real person thinking about burpees right now.
That's also fair and accurate. Fucking burpees.
At burpee, the idea of burpees makes my knees hurt.
Yep, my knees, my
Yeah,
back.
mine too.
Oh God.
But he's
Yeah.
stepping away from the bag to do something. So there's opportunity.
Oh, you can do flutter kicks.
You do, yeah.
Oh God.
So, anyways, he steps away from the bag.
I will go over and kind of check the weight of the bag and see that when I lean into it, it doesn't move. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think it's a good idea if I try punching this.
I put enough padding on there to not break anything.
Mhm.
I imagine that padding on one side is compressed, as though like the pillow that you've used for years.
Yeah, where part of the pipe's been worn in a little bit, so it all sits in a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's all like Pike elbow height
Yeah. Yeah.
from those elbow strikes, man.
And he'll uh he's got like a compress wrap that he did around his knuckles because he doesn't have athletic tape here. And he just sort of like pulls open the bag that he took from medical that's got more rolls in it, and he offers you one if you want to pad your knuckles.
I look at it and go, I look at I have totally don't have the last year worth of built up calluses anymore. And I'm like, yeah, that seems like a good idea. Yeah. So I will try, like, Octavia will like look at him and then like, she actually woke up on the good side of the bed today, so she's trying to be normal. So she will try punching said punching bag. She's not very good at it. She used to be in much better shape. She is significantly less in shape now.
Would you like to roll a close combat just to see how this looks? You don't
Yeah,
have
I'll
to.
roll a
Just a
close
suggestion.
combat just so Pike can have an understanding of I went from whatever the fuck I was at before to that.
Wow, what a success! So you managed to look good hitting the bag, and obviously you
I
hit the
managed to
bag.
hit it with appropriate form, and that's about
Yeah,
it.
but it's clear to Pike, I'm sure, that
I
there
went
has been
from
some
like having like
severe,
almost 10 dice to having
yeah,
3.
there is some severe degradation in her abilities.
He doesn't look judgmental at all. Like he watches you go for a minute and then he says, "You're just walking a different path."
Insightful, Pike.
I I did what we needed to make sure that you stayed alive for the first path, and this different one's a different one.
I kind of just nod and go, it still feels weird. I'm just happy I woke up on the right side of the bed today.
How's that been?
uh, she looks a little sheepish and's like, the enclosed spaces are nice. The bunks just feel weird now.
Yeah, I figured you weren't going to come back to yours. I've just been using it.
Did you use the upper bunk for storage?
Yeah, I mean, I can move it, but yeah.
I had a feeling whoever was gonna have that upper bunk was gonna end up using it like that. I just think it's funny that it's yours.
Do you find somewhere safe on the ship to roost?
Yeah, I have a couple of places that are comfy.
What's your family think of that?
Eh,
I think you get
They
the
don't get
impression that at least one, whichever one was the smartest. I think it was Finn, but I'm not sure. The
Finn is
smartass one
smart, but
thing. Sorry, go ahead.
Nina is the smartass
Okay.
and the one with the one with the temper. Finn is the kind of aloofy but book smart one.
Okay. So Nina
Mhm.
absolutely thinks it's a game and makes many references to the sleeping game or the Finding Octavia. Well, I think she's gonna call it the Finding Tavia game. Finn, on the other hand, is just like, all right, this is bullshit. Where the fuck are you? Stop playing around. You know,
I
sleep
mean,
in
they
a
don't
bed like
either of
normal
them quite
people.
get it. Like they're like the most well-adjusted, normal-ish people probably on the ship, other than Emily.
Yeah, Pike asks,
Prospector
like,
girl's got her shit together.
yeah, Pike asks, how's your family taking it?
They dragged me out here. I think they like us being together on the ship, as far as I can tell. Um, they're getting used to it, I think, being out here like this. We don't talk all that much yet. They
They
don't
don't know. They don't know
they don't
anything.
get it. Well, you remember all that shit we signed on the way out? It's not like I can tell them what went down.
Yeah, it's not everything, but yeah. Hey, if you've told them nothing, then I'll tell them nothing. I just want to make sure I don't tell them anything you don't want them to know.
I gave them the sanitized version. I don't think I told them anything about the, Xenos and stuff like that. The
Yeah.
military is specifically unhappy about that information being shared, especially the Wayland Yutani people.
Well, I'll tell them the same thing then. So
Mhm.
I just don't want them going behind your back.
Mm-hmm.
It's your business to share.
I just have a head nod. Is Lakota giving you any issues? The therapist lady.
Didn't talk to me yet.
Ooh, I need to make a note.
I have been avoiding her. I'm not sure I want to deal with whatever questions she's got brewing up in that head of hers. She's always watching us.
She's the medic, right?
She's the therapist.
No, she's a fucking head doctor.
Yeah.
Just picturing Octavia going, "Jeez."
He
She's the
audibly
therapist first. And she likes watching us all quiet. I'm not sure I like it. My inner not so good inner heart of hearts has her falling a little into the paranoia bucket too.
Yeah.
Just, a smidgen.
Yeah, well. Thanks for the heads up.
All right, so what's next?
What's next is a certain medium build man as you two part ways after however long it takes for you guys to get to that point, and follows Octavia back up the rest of the ship. So Wayland Yutani, huh? And I imagine this is this starts off as a walk and talk until you probably whirl on him and
Who
tell him
is following me?
Tan
Pan.
Latchman.
So he was overhearing your conversation.
He overheard part of the conversation. He didn't catch the whole thing. He
didn't
did,
get
and
to
he
make
even
them-
says, "Listen, sorry, I heard you say something about Wayland Yutani. I'm not a big fan of them. They get a little shisty out here. Just wanted to make sure you're not one of them. Listen, we have a list of rules that we go by when we find stuff, when we turn stuff in, we make claims. Nothing comes back on the ship without being checked out. You understand my standpoint, right? Wayland Yutani likes to flirt around those rules, and by flirt I mean completely circumvent.
You know what Wayland Yutani does to the Colonial Marines, right?
Yeah, they use them as their own personal corporate security.
I believe that's enough said.
No, that's no. Are you for or against? I need to know what I'm working with here.
I'm so sad I'm not the one in this conversation.
He knows
They
not
did
to
us
talk to
dirty.
you. You threatened
we,
him. You basically were like, "Hey boss, how much trouble
I
would it be
look
if I
at
just
Tan
smashed this
and I
dude's
just
face
look
in?"
down
I
and I
did
look at
say
Tan
that.
again and go, you know that the four of us are from the same squad, right?
There is a moment of like if you could see somebody doing the mental math of 1 + 1 = 2 all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's the math meme where it all just projects out.
Yeah, and he's starting to see it. He's like, oh my.
We all
And
retired on the same day for the same reason.
so cool
And part of
story,
it
and I mean
was-
that. Where are we on the for or against Wayland Yutani spectrum?
I give him the deadpan look going, bro, you could have let me finish talking. Against.
Perfect. So you'll follow all of these rules in triplicate, etc., correct? Awesome. Good talk. And he just starts to walk away.
I laugh as he walks away. I know he isn't getting it, but
He's full corporate inspector security guy. Not security, but he doesn't give a shit. And he doesn't like Wayland Yutani or Pike because he's definitely afraid of Pike. But we don't need to talk about that.
I did openly and blatantly threaten Grievous bodily harm.
Yeah, I believe the words were, Cap, any problems if I smash this dude's face in?
It was, how much trouble will you get in if I beat the shit out of him?
Yeah.
All right, where to?
Yeah,
I'm looking at the
so
captain.
so at this point, I guess we're doing the flyby. Do we see anything unusual? I guess we see lots and lots of white.
So you see, well, I mean, this is a pretty cold planet, so there is a fair amount of cold, or white rather. You get, as you note in your handout, and you look at your terrain features, there's, gravel-strewn mountains, frozen, dried-out rivers and deltas, rough terrain, overcast with snow, frozen tundra and snowstorms, deserts. Those deserts are not your traditional hot deserts. They're cold deserts.
Mhm.
So, extensive plains of frozen shit, not much precipitation out there. And of course, the extensive salt flats of the southern pole. Of note,
Salty.
the colony, which is founded at the lip of a volcano, of all stupid places to put a colony.
Yeah.
Oh, give me one quick second, guys.
Is this an opportunity for more cheese?
Sorry, I was talking to my kid. One thing of note is, of course, the colony is built on this literal side of this volcano, which I found incredibly odd, stupid, and dangerous.
Iceball, inhospitably cold planet. Build colony on warm spot.
I mean, I get that, but like at the precipice of an active volcano, come on, that's not smart. But that is what your auto dock, well, in this case, auto landing system is indicating, is that there is a small number of shelters dotting the region around the main facility. But comms are weirdly, strangely, or maybe even slightly expectantly silent.
Okay. So let's see. Who do we need for this mission? Let me check my. So we need the prospector. Oh, actually, let's see here. Octavia, are you available at this moment?
She is in
Intercom.
She is in human mode.
I am currently chilling, probably in one of my labs, just in
Okay.
like the corner, curled up with the data pad, watching the sensors as we fly in.
We can peek
I
at
don't
it.
feel the need to be on the front dock next to the bay up there, but you can summon me up there if you want, because you can see me actively connected on my data pad watching the info stream.
Yeah.
You have a small window at the bottom right of your tab or window or whatever, and it says Octavia has joined the call.
Basically, yeah.
Hmm.
So if you want me in person, you can tell me to move my ass up there. Otherwise, I'm just chilling and watching.
No, I don't need you in person. Did you notice that everything there is breathable? Is there anything strange about the signals that you've received from your sensor suite? Because I know you did your sensor suite.
Yeah, I regurgitate what the sensors would have given me initially.
Yep.
Okay, so that's all you've received.
Yeah.
But
It's
that
cold.
and the fact
Sorry.
that the auto procedures are haven't been updated in so long that they are severely and dangerously out of date, so we cannot use them for auto docking or auto landing procedures. We have to land manually.
And I got to read here on a -2 on atmosphere.
That -2 on the atmosphere is so when you roll the planet size and it determines its size and gravity, it'll give a modifier for the next roll, which is for atmosphere.
Yeah.
Which is why, despite the negative, I rolled pretty good or pretty high and got a dense +1 on the climate roll, but it was
Okay.
still cold with +1 on hydrosphere, but still managed to get no water despite the +1 hydrosphere.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But it also lines up with the initial report of cold planet. It is breathable atmosphere. Everything good? Cold planet, breathable atmosphere. The atmosphere is a little bit dense, so instead of the mile high thing like in Colorado, it's like, what's the lowest point on Earth? Like Death Valley or something like that? Lowest point on Earth without being underwater.
I'm not sure.
I don't know either, but
Louisiana.
Louisiana? Louisiana is pretty low.
Yeah, we're
Yeah, that's like
Yeah.
underwater, isn't it?
basically
The Netherlands. Oh, the Netherlands actually also famously below sea level. The windmills and whatnot churning that water up out of the ground so they can stop being flooded all the time. It's not exactly what the
Yeah.
windmills are for, but quite a few of them are, I believe. Also, I'm not in the
Anyways.
Netherlands, so
It's dense.
noticeably dense, but not impairing.
Okay. Okay. So we do our pass bys, we do a couple orbits, nothing seems to jump out at us as being strange, and then we decide to go and land this thing, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Um
Yes. Landing, and then I'm just going to hand wave and say it's a little rough coming down. It's thick atmosphere, so it takes a little bit
Yeah.
longer than normal
Mhm.
to plow your way through and keep and doing it at such a rate that you're not overheating everything on the outside of the ship and losing parts. So it's a little bit rough, air turbulence and whatnot. But eventually you do make it down to the surface of the planet and you're landing at the facility. It is a balmy cold outside. I want you to picture blowing winds and blowing snow and other traditional blizzardy type conditions. Visibility is limited.
I am familiar with that.
Yep.
Uh okay, so we're gonna need at least one security personnel. We're gonna need our scout. ICC and one no ICC one prospector and one scientist.
Okay.
Anyone else volunteering to go out?
Well, I think this is probably safer to have people on because most biological contaminants don't like extreme cold. So we're probably not gonna chance someone becoming instantly infected. And frankly, humans don't breathe cold air, like air that gets that cold. So you'd be in at least partial, if not full suits anyways. So
Yeah.
if the ICC inspector actually wants to go out for a trip, this is probably a safer planet to let him out on.
Oh, he's
It is.
when you say that, you get the giddy kid look from Blatchman, except it's not
Well,
the
I'm
giddy
just
kid look.
talking on
It's,
the speakerphone, basically,
that's
saying
right.
like,
You
"Hey,
wouldn't see his face then. Never mind. Warren, you would see his face as, "Ooh, can I, please?" But
well,
it's more of
because
the
there's not as nearly as much of a risk
yeah.
on this planet as there was before for biological contaminants.
Blatchman is absolutely signing up for this mission since you didn't.
Make sure
last
you
time.
still send them through the decom process real quick if you're gonna have them walk out and then back in. But yeah, I'd say
Okay.
let them go. Have a good day, because we actually have some very favorable scans on prospecting in one of the locations as well. So I'm sure
Okay.
Emily will also appreciate going out.
So
I think I would rather
Emily,
stay on scanning because I have a feeling that with a dense atmosphere, there might be some weird weather conditions, and I'd like to be able to alert them ahead of time.
Okay.
okay. So in lieu of you, we get the ICC inspector, we get the prospector, one security, a scout. How do you feel about going out into the freezing cold, Heath?
You want it, you'll get it.
Okay.
Jack,
What is the
put some boots on?
yeah? What
Yeah, we
does
actually
the What does the base look like? The not the base, but the facility.
So you are on looking at this thing from the wire hollow frames that you're getting and the overhead passes that you've taken. This looks, from a top down view, reminiscent of Platt's Outpost. You've got the landing pad kind of towards the outskirt. You've got the main facility that's surrounded by a bunch of smaller like hab units and things of that nature. The only difference here is the third dimension aspect, and that the main facility and some of the initial couple of buildings surrounding it are at the very literal top of the mountain. When I say mountain, this is probably about a few hundred meters in elevation, so we're not talking like full blown. I'm going to say Mount St. Helens because I'm more familiar with that mountain and what it looks like. I don't know about you guys. You guys are more easterly, so you definitely have an idea of what a mountain looks like.
Like Everest.
Well,
Mitchell.
Yeah, like not necessarily that massive as far as Everest is concerned, but like that if you start at the base of a mountain and walk up to the top, it's gonna take you a few days. Depending on the size.
It's gonna take a good time.
Yeah.
Based on my scanning, is there a path or trail on the surface from the landing pad up to the
There is. There's definitely walkways, whether they're like paved walkways in some cases, and others it looks like there was at one time, many years ago, pathways carved out of the ice and snow and whatnot. But of course, there's no indicator, and you don't see footprints, you don't see nothing. The snow drifts are drifting, so there's evidence. I know from a geological standpoint, there's ways to tell that the snow definitely drifts. Obviously, in some places, some of the buildings are being overtaken by the piles of snow that never blow away, but there's always snow is always moving through.
Think of it, desert is more of like it's
like a desert, but it's
permanently
snow
frozen.
Yeah.
Think of it as like what you would see in like a sandy desert, except instead of sand, it's actually snow.
Exactly. Like
So, my advice would be they probably need a personal transit vehicle and don't fucking go in any tunnels and shit.
Yeah. Or if you're gonna walk it, maybe guide ropes or something tying you off to the vehicles or some shit like that. Are we
expecting any survivors
at this point?
Honestly, probably not, because there's not been any system updates in 80 years.
All right.
Yeah, and I warn you that if it looks like they made tunnels between buildings, don't go in them, because if they're unmaintained, they will be very, very dangerous.
Yeah, cave-ins are no joke.
And,
even small amount of snow, you don't even know which way's up anymore.
Yeah. So send them in proper suits and with little locator beacons, so somebody can go dig their ass out of a snow drift if they need it.
Yeah, probably not a bad idea.
Yeah, that's probably the best idea. Okay. And
we have the ATVs. I forget exactly what they are. Well, there's a something.
We send them out with the not Jeep.
Yeah, there's the big 8x8, which is
a
terrible tank.
Yeah, you want to send them out with a lighter vehicle that'll seat all of them.
Yeah.
I don't remember specifically off the top of my head what vehicles you guys have, but you guys have that information, I'm pretty sure.
We do somewhere.
We can take a 4x4.
And if it's only a small team of 4 of y'all, then the 4x4 is going to be more than enough, I think.
Yeah, XT. We've got 4 XT37C 4x4 off roads.
Okay, so one.
Just make sure you take some time converting them for the cold. Hope that there's no wampas out there. But
I would recommend, before you send people out, having 2 of them set up for the cold weather, one for the primary and one for a backup rescue, before you allow anyone to leave.
You hear somewhere in the background on your comms tie-in with the bridge and everybody, you hear somebody in Russian going, "I've got it. Oh God, that doesn't sound close to Russian. I'm working on it right now. I'll have it ready in about an hour."
Boston.
Yeah, I know, right? I've got this. It'll be ready in a little bit. Stop busting my chops.
Yeah. Hey, as long as there's 2 of them all set up to drive around and go out in the cold, then we're happy. That way the main team can go out, and if they run into trouble, we can send a second team out more cautious to go winch their asses back in.
Yep, exactly.
make sure they all have
Ooh,
personal
fun.
locator beacons, like in their armor.
Yeah, I think you can get I think it's safe to say that your guys' not necessarily hazardous environment, but your different the environment suits. They're more or less
Because
like
extreme cold is just as bad.
yeah,
as
exactly. But I feel
vacuum
like
can
those
be
suits will
somewhere.
have location and biomonitors built
Mhm.
into them.
Yeah.
We're not. They probably don't have anything as fancy as biomonitors. We might be able to track comm locations, just trying to triangulate a radio.
I
but
will
I doubt
actually
I doubt
specifically
it
go through
has,
medbay.
because the PDTs are their own specific item. I doubt we're gonna get the same level of stuff in the spacesuits.
That's fair.
Yeah. The thing is the little the little personal transponders that are out of the CMOM or
The Marines?
excuse me, the ones that are out of the Marines book are not the same ones as the ones that are out of the BBW. The BBW
So
ones
immature.
actually come in like 3-packs. So I'm sure we have a couple 3-packs of basic
Yeah.
patient monitor bracelets that
Yeah,
tell
yeah.
you distance to them, and we can just tie them in.
Yeah. I'm
Mhm.
sure
So,
that wouldn't take.
If
I'm
I
sure that
had
somewhere
made a medic instead of a scientist, it actually would have been a part of my standard kit, which is the only reason I know about it.
we can also hand wave that you with your comms tech knowledge can jury rig something in the workshop and have some
I don't
sort of
need to. I just go steal some patient bracelets out of medbay and key them.
yeah. I mean that's all you would have to do. Yeah, like you could easily put something together with your comms tech knowledge. Are we
Yeah.
ready to head out?
Yeah,
Who's
Alita's
driving?
fine.
Who's driving this first set for the cold 4x4?
I can
If
drive.
no
Is
one,
Warren on the ship or is he out driving around or rolling around in the snow?
he is on the ship for now.
Yeah, and Octavia's
Yeah.
staying on the ship too
You're monitoring the
to
weather
stay
and
on
whatnot.
sensors.
I
Mhm.
mean, I
Because
can
while
drive.
it's a desert planet, the dense atmosphere, I think, increases the chances of bad weather.
Mhm.
And I want to stay on the sensors because we don't need another volcano erupting on our asses again.
Yes.
So I'm
I
very,
think,
very close to watching those.
So right
yeah.
or Pike or one of the two NPCs. Either who's
I think I
assigned as your driver.
prefer right to drive unless Pike still has rank in piloting.
He does. He
He
still has his one
does?
rank.
One rank.
All right.
Okay.
So you got piloting. Let me see what these other guys have. Piloting.
I don't want an NPC to drive.
One. Blatchman has none. So, all right. Sounds like Pike is making that piloting roll to see if he ends up eating
Unless-
snow.
Unless Alita wants to drive. Alita's the only person that he'd be like, "Hey, you want to drive? You can drive." The other two, he'd be like, "Just sit down."
Sit down. Especially
You know what?
you, Inspector Boy.
You know what? Yeah. Alita is gonna try to drive it.
And then
All right.
if you roll it off of your character sheet, it should show up as her roll and not your roll, if that makes sense.
So-
yeah, I think I figured out why. Give me
Well,
one
you have to
second.
select that token and then open the skill.
So Pike is gonna like get on the back of the 37 and clip on.
Okay.
So he's basically like standing with his feet braced on like on the back, and he's clipped on at the waist, so he has that higher point of view.
Uh-huh.
So he can help Alita with like wheel placement, and if he sees something that's coming
Okay.
up or whatever, he's just
All
gonna.
right.
Alright, well, that plays
So-
out really well because you're standing on top of her
Yeah.
and she starts to panic.
But she keeps her shit together. I think what happens is at least two, it's a 4x4, so I imagine it's at least two wheels out of four go off the side of the designated path into some really loose shit and either grab super hard or lose all grab. Depending on how that works out, because it's been a little while since I drove and still, I think with the loose shit, it'll grab harder than the paved packed shit. You do about a 720 spin around. Give me some sort of, I think it's agility. Is that what I'm looking for?
Mobility?
Mobility.
Yeah. I need a roll from you to stay. I know you're hooked in, but I basically need you to keep your basically keep your standing position or holding on so you don't get flung and dragged. I feel like mobility or some sort of strength stamina thing would be the answer.
I mean, I'll gladly take a
Yes,
stamina roll.
I know, because you have like 27 dice in stamina. I know. I'm trying to. I don't want you to easy mode this, but this shouldn't be a showstopper either. So.
I mean, whoops, sorry. I feel like mobility is probably the smarter role here. It makes more
yeah.
sense.
It's rough. You hang on there. You definitely get not only the pucker factor, but your ab muscles are super engaged, trying to hold on and keep yourself steady as this vehicle just spins around a couple of times. When you're done, go ahead.
Are we spun out? Like now we need to like get the car back on the track.
Yeah,
basically?
you've spun off the designated driveway or whatever you want to call it. So you're definitely in some loose pack. You're also facing back towards the ship now.
Just like he just like he takes a moment. He's like, Alita, are we stuck? Are we stuck?
Go ahead and give me another piloting roll and let's see if you're stuck or not.
All right.
See if you can get out on the first try. So the answer is you are not stuck. You've got one success. You could push it to get out faster if you want. Or you could just take like a half hour and maybe have to dig out a little bit. But it doesn't take a lot of effort overall to get out. So yeah.
Total of 2 successes.
2 successes.
2 successes and you're out on like, you give it a good gun. One of the tires doesn't catch. You go back out. You kick some loose snow under it. Or maybe you dig it out a little bit so it can find some loose snow. And then you give it another gun and it just pops right up and out and back onto the road again. If you want to have a conversation about what the hell's going on, please. Otherwise, we can continue. I feel like there could be some really good witty banter right now.
I just point out that the ship has cameras.
Oh, they're looking at it.
I mean, the bridge is probably listening to us.
Oh yeah, Warren. Yeah. Actually, Warren. I want to imagine Warren sitting at his captain's chair console with a cup of coffee watching this. He's got the one camera that's got the best view of this truck turned around and Pike just going, Jesus Christ, Alita, stop trying to kill me. What is going through Warren's head at this moment?
I radio actually into them. Seems like we just can't get away from clusterfucks, can we?
Same shit, different ship. And like I lean forward over the cab because it's an open cab, right? So I'll lean forward and I'll unzip a pocket and I'll pull out like a plastic sandwich bag.
Got a little sandwich in there?
No, there's no sandwich. Just in Sharpie written on the front of it is barf bag, and I hand it to Alita.
Hey.
Oh my god. All right, where are we going? We got out. We're on the main road again. Okay. We've got a couple hundred meters up to go, several hundred meters forward to go.
Okay, I can officially take a point in piloting now.
You did succeed at a
piloting roll. You did succeed on a piloting roll.
1,
if you
2,
didn't already
3,
have it.
4, 5.
And I believe it doesn't. Does it still count 5 experience points?
Mm-hmm. Okay. It's just you have permission now.
Yeah. You unlock it.
Yeah.
What are we doing? What's the plan?
Okay, so we're
we just gotta keep driving.
Yeah, we and Captain's just I'm stuttering now. Great.
Captain sounding just, like me. It's okay. Welcome to my club.
Yeah. Reminds them that they have to check the hab units and see if there's anything going on over there. So.
Okay. Where do you want to go first? Boss is looking for hab units and also the main facility.
Don't worry, Captain. You'll get a thorough recon.
Excellent.
Give me one final piloting to get to the main facility. Please don't fuck this up.
All right. Fine.
Push it. At least you can push this one. There you go. I think at some point, because you had to push it, I think at one point you start to slip again, and you end up on the wrong path, and you find out that you just took like an extra 20 minutes.
I totally have an idea for
this.
Go
for it. What do you got?
So you're driving and the back end starts to slide out. And Pike, because Pike is actually pretty heavy, he just leans to get you traction and it kicks, it just goes. Just leans to shift weight.
Oh, amazing.
You know, you laugh, but that is actually a technique to
It
do. Like
is.
a whole
That's
carload
good.
of people to just be like, oh.
Yep. Listen, we've all watched the third Pirates of the Caribbean movie where they just run from one side of the deck to the other to get the ship to flip over.
Oh my God.
That was.
All right.
I don't think that was very realistic, but what you're talking about is.
But I really like the idea that it's starting to go bad and Pike just sighs and helps Alita out, and that's the push.
Oh my God.
All right. Where are we going to first? We have Hab unit or we have the main facility. Where would you like to go?
Might as well check the hab unit because it's on the way.
Give me observation rolls for whoever goes inside.
Unless Alita tries to go in first, Pike's planning to go in first.
Are you going in
Not
Marine
arguing.
style? Or are you just gonna kind of pop your head and see what's what?
I'm going in tactically. I don't know what's going on, and I'm programmed.
That's a great way to phrase it. All right, you want to push that?
No, I'm happy with 2 successes.
Okay. All right, so you go through. I think you guys get maybe halfway up, and there's like a cluster of Hab units around. You know, you got to crunch through some of the snow, right? Like some of it gets anywhere from ankle to waist height as you make your way through from one Hab block to the next. But as you go in and you kind of have to prompt the computer to like let go of the lock, or you have to kick the door to get the ice to break, or something. Like it takes a bit of effort to get into each one of these houses.
I like the idea that, like, because we just talked about how Tan is worried that I might actually hurt him in a hall if it's only the 2 of us. Like, there's a door that's partially like frozen shut, and Pike just like snaps a punch at it to crack the ice off, and then pulls the door open and just walks in.
Yeah, Tan's definitely having a bit of a issue, but you know, Mr. By the Book can calm the fuck down when the ice is taking. Yeah. So, but the one thing that seems consistent across the board is that, unlike the last place where people just fell over and died almost in place all at once, this has got the look of people having grabbed some of their belongings, made a orderly exit. But there is no there are no bodies and there are no people.
But so it looks like they evacuated.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll search the Hab units, and then like I'll step out into step out in front of the 4x4 so I can be clearly seen, and I'll hit up the comms. Habs got evacuated.
Habs got evacuated? Any sign of where they might have gone? Any data in the Hab units?
With 2 successes, no.
Okay.
No, but there's really only 2 options: into the deeper into the cold to die, or to the facility.
Facility's a good bet.
Like, so just to confirm, no bodies yet, right?
No
No.
bodies.
Nobody froze to death in the Habs. Everybody who came
Okay.
down here took their shit and left.
That's actually better than the last one. Let's see how it goes.
Okay, let's
Hopefully it's not just easier to count the bodies.
They're all in one spot. Yeah, it's helpful when they do that for you. All right. Anything else in the Habs?
No, I think Alita just like asked Warren, like, okay, are we good to go to the
Does
the main
Alita have
facility
any
now?
like security training or anything that gives her additional bonuses or anything for like observation?
Don't you?
She has investigator.
Yeah, I was gonna say investigator is very specific.
Yeah.
If
there was a person that was shot and on the ground, and we need to know why and where and what. And
oh, gotcha. Okay. So it's not for generic scenarios. It's more for specific things.
Let me just check if it gives me a bonus.
Let me take a look at it too, actually.
Yeah, see, for each success I roll, I may ask the GM for one of the following questions.
What happened here? Is anything hidden here? If so, where? Are there any details hidden? Actually, I can give you some information to those questions if you wanted to make that observation roll yourself and have that represent the Habs that you were checking out.
I mean, I declared it safe if you wanted to investigate.
Okay, I'll go in. Let's see.
Oof. Uh-oh. You dropped something.
We're having a bad time this mission.
Let's
I
see
am.
what's in your inventory. Yeah, you know what you're dropping.
But you succeeded.
Oh my god.
So at least there's that.
You will know. I'm going to tell you now, but for the rest of this time that you're on the planet, you do not have a stun baton.
Okay. Okay.
I'm telling you out of character only because I don't want to have to drag a stun baton on later. But you did get one success, so you do have the option of asking one of those questions. What would you like to know in addition to the information I've already provided? And remember,
give
I
me a
can be
second.
vague as well. I don't have to give you all the details. I just have to give you an honest answer. Snow is white. It's... I love
Are
how
there any
Kate's just like,
details?
oh my god, this motherfucker.
Are there any details hidden out there that are out of place?
One more time so I can figure out what the
Are
question
there
is.
any details hidden that are out of place?
The only thing that seems odd is that the same answer applies to all of the habitats and not just one or two or three or whatever. It looks as though everybody at some point finished whatever they were doing, and I want to key on the word finished what they were doing, grabbed their stuff, and left. And there is no sign of panic, uh, conflict, struggle. Things are put away. Like, you start looking through drawers, and for the drawers that still have things in them, they're still there, more or less neat and orderly, maybe dusty or frosty. But there's no like people. No, there's no drawers that were like ripped out and dumped into a garbage bag because they had to go now.
Right.
I think that's really the only thing that might seem odd, for lack of a better way to call it, is that people definitely took their time and used some thought as opposed to a blind panic. We got to go now.
A planned
Yeah,
relocation instead of an emergency one.
yeah. There are
Yeah.
are things left behind, but none of them are of any major value. You know, a couple of pieces of clothing that aren't terribly important, a child's toy that was left maybe under a bed or something, but
Okay.
nothing really.
So
Not, there's nothing wild, and there's absolutely no signs of struggle or fighting or anything.
see, I think I think Alita will agree with Pike's assessment on that they probably went to the main facility for whatever reason and no one came back.
Okay. When you guys are ready and you want to continue on to the main facility, go ahead and make me one last piloting roll, just for the shits and giggles, and because I love to try to ramp your stress up some.
You were doing a great job of that.
Yeah. What I really look for is that player stress notification. Jesus, I'm playing. You didn't have to go into a frozen state. Ironic though, that because you're on your almost an ice planet.
Frozen is actually really bad when you're driving.
Yeah,
Well,
it is.
all right. So you lose your next slow action. I think what we end up having is I'm gonna make a GM.
And everybody else is stressed out by whatever the fuck it is you're doing.
I think what happens is it's not so much stress specifically. I think as Alita gets back behind the driving controls and starts heading back up the volcano, she gets, on one hand, just the perplexed feeling of what the hell, like, what's going on here and what happened. Also, maybe some flashback to the last planet that had an active volcano throwing shit at you, and you're now driving up another one that is reportedly active as well.
I think I also want to add that she came out as the most normal-ish of the group.
Yes.
And
these
now
are
she's
still
like
abnormal situations to her.
Yeah, and she's like, well, is this happening again? Come on, it's been a couple of years or a year and some.
Yeah.
And now we're just like doing this again.
And I think what happens is because you get that middle of the road stare as your brain starts thinking of all these things, and there's a turn coming and the vehicle goes straight. Pike is like, look out, what are you doing? And thump. The vehicle doesn't roll over or anything, but you definitely got 3 out of 4 tires in the snow again.
Cool. And by definition, you cannot hydroplane on sand and snow, but you can lose traction with them just like you would on water.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
Oh
absolutely.
yeah.
Ask me
I
how I know.
actually look it up because there isn't a specific word for doing that on snow or ice or sand. Like they're doing
Snowdroplane.
that for water.
Snowdroplaning, snow drifting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So you
you
basically do the sand, or you basically do the snow equivalent of hydroplaning, and everybody else in the 4x4 fucking hates you for it.
yeah, they're like, what are you doing? Everybody sees it coming, and you do nothing because you're off in La La Land in your head for a few minutes at the worst possible time.
Hey, if you've ever, so there's a condition in New Brunswick that we get is tree blindness, because
Yeah.
everything just looks like the same tree everywhere.
Yeah,
And if you're just driving along the highway and you're like,
yeah. I
oh
know the
shit, there's a
feeling.
turn.
Yep, I know the feeling. I know that feeling.
Yeah, you just gotta get bored, and then you
Yeah,
don't even know.
That's why,
what's...
like, I've gotten into such a habit when I'm driving. I look at it this way: when I'm driving during my route, 8 hours of driving around, moving boxes, whatever. Right, my body
Mhm.
is engaged, my mind is not. So
Oh yeah,
my mind will
dangerous.
find things to do while I'm driving. The drawback is I'll miss a turn every now and again. Not often, but I'll miss like throughout the course of maybe 80 or 100 stops. I'll miss a turn for 2 or 3 of them, and I'll be fucking angry at myself. Like, God damn it, pay attention. But my brain's got to have shit to do too.
Did we make it most of the way there?
Yeah, you're 100 meters off, 200 meters off, but you know, you got to trump through some snow. I don't know why I said trump. I meant trudge, but you know what I mean. You got to plunk your way through some snow. A couple of people need to stay back to get the vehicle unplugged.
Yeah, I think because given my agenda, I think I unclip, I hop off the back, I walk over to the driver door, and I look at Alita and say, "Oh, you can catch up.
You're just
Got
going to
it.
drive and let her walk?
I'm walking."
Oh, you're walking.
Yeah, no, they're walking, and Alita's
gonna-
job is to get this thing
Oh, I
out
got
of
you,
the
gotcha.
snow.
I'm gonna leave the three of them to dig these wheels out and pull it out. I'm gonna walk to the facility. It's 100 meters in deep snow. That's nothing for Pike.
Yeah, I think Pike, if anything, might have a bit of an accelerated respiration
Actually,
rate.
that's a good plot hook to make like Pike be alone in the facility for a moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I go by myself. I'm just
Okay.
gonna. I'm taller. I'm stronger. Alita needs to unfuck herself. I'm just gonna go to the facility.
Okay.
Alita
Yeah,
is suddenly very thankful that the two mechanics left shovels in the back of the 4x4 for them.
I think that would be start of your. Yeah, I think that would be part of your standard. I'm about to go drive through some snowpack kit. Is shovels and picks.
So
I'm gonna walk a couple meters and then I'll get on the radio and just say, what the fuck was the name of our ship?
The island Solovetsky or Solovetsky Island.
The island is what we call it.
Yes.
Yeah. Island. Scout is proceeding on foot. Vehicle is being extricated.
extricated, like from the country.
This Warren actually say that? 'Cause I think that would be
he means from the
hilarious.
snow.
Oh, all right. You know what? If everything's under control, I will leave it as is. You tell me the word, and we send out another scout.
The other 4x4.
Yeah, the other 4x4.
I don't think it's that bad yet, sir.
Excellent. Then proceed as you need.
Yeah, I go to the facility while they start pulling out shovels and shit.
Do I get down any stress for having 10-15 minutes of like
Yeah, you know what, Warren, I want you to take a point of stress. Unfortunately, on the next mission, that stress is still going to be there with you, and here's why. You are in a position of leadership. You are in a position of you can't directly influence a whole lot. You have to rely on other people to do their job. You can tell them what to do, but they still have to do it, and that's starting to wear on you a little. So just take one point of stress, and the next time I say reset your stress, you don't get to reset your stress.
Okay.
That's a new mechanic that we just created right here and now. You're welcome.
Hey, leadership stress is a different kind of stress.
Like, yes, it is. I think half my gray hair is from either my kids, which is also a form of leadership, or from my leadership experience in the military.
So Alita goes down a stress?
No, Alita's still in her thing, in her stress mode. Whatever her
Okay.
stress is at. But Warren gains a point of stress from all of this.
I would like to make the argument that the people in the 4x4 who are just sitting there digging at snow can
Mhm.
go down a point of stress because they're working out their anxiety by physically moving,
Okay.
aka show
I'll
snuggling.
I agree. I think they're gonna spend a turn or two digging in there, so I think that we can reduce all three of them by 1 point.
Okay.
Uh,
I would like to do a weather and geology check just to
sure.
do an active scan over the weather and any
What would you?
like
I know what you're
volcanic
talking about. Like, is there any
sensors.
seismic activity or anything?
Yes, that was the word I couldn't think
Yeah,
of.
I got
Seismic
you. I got
activity.
you. Is there a roll that you would like to make, or are we just gonna see what the GM comes up with off the cuff?
Um,
I
let me
mean, does
double
she
check
need to make
something.
a roll? The computer's going to be extrapolating weather patterns.
Yeah,
Yeah, so my analysis skill is
it'd be contact or
for
something, wouldn't it?
it says it's specifically for insight regarding strange and alien artifacts or creatures that you encounter and get a chance to study for at least one turn. I honestly would kind of like to argue I could use that to just scan the alien planet for basic information, and that
Sure.
would let me use an observation check as opposed to using Comtech.
Oh, so
Legit,
this is very
I think
similar to investigation.
it's the scientist version, which is
Yeah.
analysis,
Yep.
which it's specifically meant to deal with aliens and artifacts and stuff.
Yep.
But between that and observation, like I legit think technically my Comtech is 1 point higher, but I feel like this is more of an observation check.
Yeah.
Science is done with observation, so
Yep.
Yeah, and just so we're clear, I have 10 dice in Comtech, so I'm actually choosing to use the worst dice
Yep.
pool.
I got you. What would you like to know about the weather and seismology?
If there's anything brewing or stuff like that, or if I'm actively seeing anything on the sensors, it's not too crazy right now. I'm just
Yeah,
actively
so
keeping an eye.
what you are seeing is it does appear as though there is a storm coming, but there is nothing indicating the storm being other than it being a snowstorm, in the generic sense. It doesn't seem to be anything outlandishly concerning. It is a snowstorm coming, to be clear.
About how many hours out
A few.
does it look like?
A few.
How long have they been on planet so far to get where they are?
Let's call it like 2 hours.
Cool. So I tell them they should that we have a snowstorm looking like it's coming in a couple hours, and they should take a look around and start heading back. No
working
need to be
on
out.
it.
Insofar as seismology is concerned, there are indicators that the volcano is active, but there are no indicators of like pending looming eruptions or anything. It's just every now and
Mhm.
again there's a rumbling, but that's normal for an otherwise not quite dormant volcano. That makes sense.
Mhm.
Um,
Yep. I'm
yeah.
purely doing this to grab information for the ground team so they have a time block and when they know it's safe to
Mhm.
be outside and when they should start heading back.
Yep. Pike, you trudge your way through the snow. Your heart rate is up slightly from the exertion as well as your respiration, and you are plenty warm. You get up to the main facility, and of course, you have to do the old ice picky thing, which is basically you using a boot, elbow, or shoulder, or all three at various points in time to get the door to pop open. Inside, it is quiet. It is almost eerily quiet, especially once you close the door again. Because wind-blown snow sounds outside. Close the door, it's suddenly stupid quiet because nothing is on.
So there's like everything is off.
Yeah, everything's been turned off. There is I want to say ambient, but that's not the right word. Like auxiliary power, so there's a little bit of lighting, and of course there's big bay windows, so there's plenty of sunlight. The bit of sunlight that comes through the clouds. So you can see around fairly well. You've got a flashlight to see in the corners and that. But yeah, otherwise everything is off, and not even in power down mode. It's off.
Yeah. Oh, I would like to stealth my way through the facility.
Okay. There's
I
only a
don't know what's in
handful of
here.
rooms. It's not much sophistication or whatever, but go ahead and make your stealth roll and We'll see if you trip on anything. I believe stealth is just mobility, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a mobility roll.
But with like a isn't there a minus, or am I crazy?
No,
No.
I have the
Oh,
stealthy
that's what it
talent.
is.
I have
It's
the
opposed
opposite.
by observation by other people if you're stealthing by someone.
Right.
That's what it is. Okay. You feel really sneaky. You know that feeling when you can like you don't even hear your own footsteps?
Yeah.
You get that feeling. You feel like a ghost in this room. In these rooms, I should say. But as you go through, sweeping through, there does not appear to be any sort of threat whatsoever.
Okay. What do I find?
You find a bunch of equipment turned off. Computers that you would find in any sort of like operations center, various workstations, communications. To be clear, let me rephrase that. The communication systems are still on as far as like the radios and the navigation type stuff. But as far as like the ship or the facility's main computer, things of that nature, that stuff is off.
No, no pile of luggage. No,
Correct.
no body farm.
No body parts, no body things, no equipment. In fact, it other than a layer of dust and frost and frosted dust, it's pretty clean in here.
Did they leave him a Dear John letter on the console?
No.
Does this have a similar like the HAB units where it looked like it was like people deliberately packed
Yeah.
some stuff and left?
Yep.
Okay.
It looks like they left the light on in case somebody was to ever come by. And by the light, I mean like the communications and the navigation stuff.
Island is scout.
Yes.
I think you're muted, Luke.
Hi. Reading.
No bodies. Same level of evacuation. Running on emergency power.
Okay. Do you have any access to their long disk logs?
I see the server racks here.
If you can grab some, we can see what we can get. What else do we need? Let's see here.
Like you would know that in order to retrieve the long data disk, you'll have to power up.
Yeah, I mean, there just got to be some switches, right?
Mhm.
Push
Yeah, I mean-
buttons and stuff.
I mean, my computer starts up with a single button push.
Yeah.
But
Mm.
I don't have one wits.
Other than pull every single hard drive out of the server rack and bring it to me.
I mean, Pipe can carry all that, but if you could just turn it on and pull out the one specific drive.
Why would we do that? We want all their shit. We did the exact
Yeah.
same the last
Yeah, I
place.
know. I'm fucking with you. If that's what you want to,
Yeah.
I mean, you could obviously chime in and be like, "Hey, while you're there, just grab all the hard drives,
I look.
all
I
the
tell
computer cores, or
Puck that
whatever."
if he asks,
He's
well,
not
well,
asking.
okay.
He has a plan. Is it Island? Can you remote access their comm logs? See if somebody gave them a ride.
I can
That's a
try.
good question.
Is there anything you need me to do here to get that to work, or are you good from where you're at?
I basically try from contact. I basically call into the system and see if there's any
You can
logs of any ships.
absolutely. There's a word I can't think of it, but basically, query. You can query for traffic on the communications servers.
Hmm.
So go ahead and give me that contact roll for that with your remote control add-ons. You want to push it?
Oh, if I get remote add-ons, then
You're
I
cool.
get a
I mean,
plus
you're
2
doing
on
it.
top
Are
of
you
that.
doing it remotely, or are you going up to like the bridge?
I mean, this is.
I mean,
that-
technically,
that's
you're
not-
doing
From
remote
the
access.
island to where he is
That's not what-
remote already.
I mean, that's not what remote is for.
I know.
If she's
Oh,
doing
this
it,
is-
now
this is
I would
just
point
hacking.
out if she's doing it from her bed, that is remote.
No, you are qualified to set up, control, and repair remote sentry guns and other remotely controlled battlefield devices, and to pilot remote vehicles and pups.
Okay, never mind.
Mhm.
This is none of that. This is just hacking.
Okay, no, you're right.
Mhm.
You're
Yeah.
right.
Okay, yeah, then that's my normal role as it stands.
Okay.
I frankly don't think I need to do anything other than that.
Okay.
I mean, you could
Um,
probably spend that extra 6 on new or unexpected information.
Yeah, I'll use it on new or unexpected information.
Okay.
I do not feel like time crunch here.
Sure.
So
Yeah, no. So for your initial success, what you get is that somewhere the date timestamps will make sense, but I'm going to be a little vague just because I don't remember all the numbers. But somewhere about 10 or 15 years after the 20 parsec limit was officially established, this colony effectively packed up and left.
Hmm.
And that would be about 80 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Makes sense.
I say that, hey, according to the logs,
Mystery
they
solved! We can go
they
home!
official packed up and left.
For your extra success, what would you like more information on?
If there's anything that pinged these in the in between time, from when they left and when we arrived.
There are.
Do you understand what I'm getting
Yeah,
at
no,
there?
I like. Was there any sort of handshake at any point in time?
Yeah, was there anybody who was here in between who could talk to the systems, either like
Yeah,
rogues
actually,
or
yeah, about a year ago. I actually need to look something up, so give me a second here, because there's an answer that fits this, and I just don't remember what the words were. Let's see. I gotta remember where that particular quote was.
Right there.
Okay. 20 minutes. Appendix. Oh my god, my arm is going numb. It's super annoying. Holy fuck. I'm just gonna give it to you like this. There is a couple pings about a year ago. A bit of deduction can simply summarize it with somebody came snooping by. They connected to the communication system, but because they never received anything on the voice nets, they ended up leaving. Date time stamps looks like they were here for about 24, 36 hours between arrival and leaving. The navigation systems identified the ship as Marauder 1.
I ask if anybody knows any group that uses Marauder 1 as a standard ship designation.
Blatchman pops up and says, "None that I'm aware of, and I've been exposed to a number of shipfaring organizations." He says it in a
Yeah.
very condescending manner, by the way.
Yeah.
Saw that
I
eye
know
roll,
the official
Pagan.
I know the official military designations, and none of them fit that either. About a year ago, it looks like a Marauder 1 designated ship came by, snooped a little bit, and left. And the original colony here packed up about 80 years ago, roughly within 10 years of the parsec limit thing.
Hmm.
So,
We'll have to keep note of that and see if any of the other colonies had any of the marauders visit them too.
That's if there are any colonies that are still alive. We're over 2 already, boss. That's from Blatchman, by the way. I don't know if he'd call you boss. He'd call you captain.
You can call me whatever.
There's also sounds of him, digging more snow while he's saying that.
I just am, in my heart of hearts, really enjoying that we're making Blatchman dig out snow after he got so excited to go visit this colony.
He was so excited to go, and what is he doing? Fucking unsticking a vehicle.
I feel I actually honestly I have part of my heart feels like deep pleasure in his at Schadenfreude, and the other part of it is I kind of feel bad for him because he was so excited.
All right. So Pike gets back to the
I see
you're muted,
Kane's
Kane.
mouth moving, but I'm not hearing anything.
So Pike comes in to Island Scout.
reading.
You guys need any more remote access before I decommission this?
No, I got I think pretty useful information out of there.
All right,
Yeah, come on back.
I'll proceed with recovery.
Don't forget
Meet
the
up with
long
rest of
data
the team.
disk. That's
I will-
Blatchman again.
doesn't acknowledge it. I'll
Of course you don't.
link up with the rest of the team, and we'll return to the ship.
What are you
I've
doing?
seen
I gotta know.
Scout out.
Now, I can't help but wonder if Pike has got like some thermite or something, and he's about to blow these computers after he takes what he wants and
No,
walks away.
he's taking all the hard drives.
Okay. Grab up all the hard drives. It takes you a minute or two to
He's
grab
got-
them, but you know it's
He's
not
going to
hard.
pull out all the hard drives, pull out anything that looks vaguely hard drive like, you know, just to be
Stacks
thorough.
up 2 big bags of stuff by
You
the
come
plant
out with
entrance.
some massive RAM cards because in the future Space 80s, RAM cards are massive. I don't know why.
I made a sled so I could just pull the server racks out of the floor and put them on the sled and bring the whole rack.
You
Yo,
can't
you
get. You
definitely
gotta know
have
you
this
can't get all that to
weight.
fit on the 4x4.
No, I made a sled, hook it up to the back, and we'll pull it over.
All right.
I pull all the hard drives and anything vaguely hard drive like.
Okay.
And then I will walk back to the 4x4 in the snow.
I'm not gonna make you guys do another piloting roll. I think we've exhausted that meme. It was funny to make.
Okay.
It was funny making you guys drive off into the snow, though. Yeah, you make your way back to the island. Everybody's back on board the ship. You've got the long data disk, which confirms the idea that it looks like the colonists at some point, not long after the 20 parsec line was established, they just up and left. There is no record of where they went, who took them, how they got there, like none of the specifics, or even for that matter, why. Just that they did.
Cool. So I will do the same process. I will set up an isolation server. I will print off the entire long data disk.
Okay.
And then I would recommend that we send Tam and Emily and at least one body out to go do the prospecting thing.
Okay.
I mean, I was going to
Yeah.
go back out with Emily. You got to get that
Mhm.
done for your report.
Well, and I want to send Tam out since he was so excited to go outside.
I think Tam would want to go back out. I think what we see is like a montage of over the next several days as the ship just visits different parts of the planet. The prospector crew goes out, and that consists of the prospector, Pike,
And varying people.
Blatchman, one or two other randoms that want to go out because they're tired of being stuck inside the ship or whatever.
Well, we have 2 cold prepped vehicles that can seat 4.
Yep.
So we can take plenty of samples.
Yep.
We're not under time pressure.
Yeah, and yeah, you don't have time pressures. You manage to get all the data that's in that handout that makes sense from basically taking mechanical information and turning it into narrative information. There is, over the course of the next several days, some moderation, or excuse me, not moderation, variation on the theme, but you do see a number of massive animals. Think 1 to 3 times the size of elephants. You see desiccated skeletons exposed in the snows and the wastes and whatnot. Just these massive land creatures and their bones out in the exposed to the elements. And you see a number of these over the next several days. They look like they've been dead for, without full analysis, it could have been anywhere from a handful of years to thousands of years. Some of them are more buried than others less buried, depending on which part of the planet you're on and what kind of prevailing weather system is there.
Is the captain okay with like between surveys while we're landed at different sites with Pike leaving the ship by himself?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, Pike wants to like go and check one of these skeletons out, take some notes.
Okay.
Since we've seen weird living shit.
Literal weird living shit.
Yeah.
If
He's
Pike
trying
wants to go outside by himself, I would sneak him a transponder to make sure he doesn't get lost. Or at least if
Yeah,
he
we
does get
should- we
lost,
should
we can
have-
find his ass.
Yeah, we should have some sort of eyes on him at some point, but
Well, you mean at all points?
Some points.
I
but
make
yeah,
a
we
very
should have
lovely
check-ins.
montage of elitist spinouts and send that to the video.
You
as
got the
a,
supercut?
DVD.
You got the super
I
cut edition?
supercut her failures at driving, and that's just now one of the little mini clips we can watch on the entertainment system.
Hey, the best time to learn how to drive is in snow.
Yeah, that is true.
Or it's the most dangerous part. I don't know.
Both. Pike, I want you to imagine rib cages that are about, this big or more. We've all been to some museum that's got dinosaur skeleton mock-ups, right? So
Yeah.
imagine one of the bigger ones, just laid out flat, snow drifts all around it. You could see it well enough, and it's definitely some massive creature. I mean, based on the skeleton, it had to be several hundred, or probably a couple
we-
dozen feet at the shoulder, if not more. Just utterly massive, this thing, whatever it was. And of course, the hard part about visualizing what an animal looked like is knowing what the skeleton looks like. It doesn't really tell you what everything else looked like.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and he's just looking at ribs and he's just trying to imagine rib cages and he's thinking about this in relation to the size of the queen and stuff. And he's like,
These are
Does
much bigger.
Pike even remember that we have a xenobiology lab?
yeah, I mean, so he's impressed by it. He'll grab like a tooth or something to bring back for Octavia to analyze
For the memes, can you give me a strength roll?
to get a tooth out of the snow.
I feel like the tooth is maybe been frozen a few hundred times.
Okay.
And
Is
maybe
it a
this thing's been there for a
herbivore?
while.
Is
You know what I
it a
mean? Like,
carnivore?
okay.
We
Well,
just
wow.
want to see Pike flex his muscles, okay?
I did. We
You
definitely
know
have.
what? I'm going to spend that extra success because you guys are spying on me. I'm going to spend that extra success on I impress anybody who's watching me.
The
I
camera
add
gets
him-
the.
Like
He does one of
sidekick
those
it?
like he rolls his sleeves all the way up, and we get that perfect tricep down the forearm muscle line right before he
Oh,
swings.
you know what? This is actually a good opportunity because this stuff's being recorded on the databases on the computer with you guys spooking on me. He thinks he's alone. So he's going full 7 strength on this. So for anybody watching can see that he's like that is just like how the fuck did that just happen?
Yeah.
He just
Okay,
keys
okay.
this thing through the ice and just
I add this to the Brahms Outpost supercut.
So I gotta ask, just to be
Okay,
clear,
let's be clear. I also get a picture of Mr. Excited Man's face, and we add it to the
Blashman?
supercut. Yeah,
Yeah.
Blashman's excited face.
you get his excited face, and then we get several hours later his
Of
strained
snow.
face as he's got a shovel full of heavy snow.
Just a
I had to
terrible
write this in
time.
What exactly are you bringing back from this creature since you have 2 successes there and you're showing off with one of them? You wanted a tooth initially, but you've got a little
I
extra
feel
to
like-
work with.
I feel like with the showing off, he just like he walks around a skull. He looks like he's trying to figure out how he wants to do this, and then he just like reaches
Wears
into
it.
like the nostril holes and just like grunts once and just rips it out of the snow and ice, and then just picks up a tooth and walks away.
All that work for just a tooth.
Yeah, why
It's
not?
a, you know, so
But
she
I mean,
can
to be
do-
fair, it's probably about this fucking big, you know? The
Yeah.
size of your face.
I mean, that's more than enough for her to do,
Oh, yeah.
you know, that DNA stuff.
Yeah, the DNA
Right.
stuff. Alright, is there anything else you want to do on this planet? You have completed the planet's main mission. At this point, there's nothing but a couple of side missions that are not even worth it. If
I
you were,
just wanna-
if you were here farming for experience.
I
Hmm.
just want to spend more time interacting with people.
Yeah, no worries, no worries.
I think I've done my thing. You know, I'm friendly with Emily. We did the survey stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm,
Okay.
mhm.
I feel like we would have more character RP because this is one of those quiet missions.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're here for several days.
Yeah.
I'm gonna roll for Westcott again to see if she has a bad day while we're here.
Okay, that's fair.
Oh,
You
That's fair.
want
At
this
some
so
point, she's
bad.
got to go to sleep.
You
I
want
want to
this
have
so
one
bad.
bad day when it's not a oh my god we're gonna die if I fuck up day. You know?
Oh,
There it is.
There it is. No
I
successes.
was fishing for one of those in a non-critical situation. Okay,
All right.
I want to have the experience over and done with before we get into trouble.
All right. So, what happens? You wake up one morning. Maybe it's. Oh, I know. This is the morning after Pike has brought that tooth back in. When you went to bed, you were pretty stoked, and you were like, you had pretty much in your head blocked off the whole rest of that day or the whole next day to do nothing but cutting off samples and checking them out under the scopes and doing some DNA scope, trying to grab DNA and analyzing it, and then you wake up and you're just like, fuck.
I don't get it. She doesn't leave whatever hidey hole she's in. She just ignores everyone. Like like the captain can tell her to go do something. She is blatantly ignoring you and everybody else.
Okay.
And while she would have jobs to do realistically, because we're still doing prospecting and scanning and stuff.
Yeah, and there's this
But
new
they're
tooth that
not.
you have in your
Nobody's
bag.
gonna die because I didn't do my job today.
Yeah, not today.
That's why I wanted to. I was fishing for it on
I know.
stress incident, so we can get this initial problems that dealt with.
All right.
So, Captain, I am ignoring you.
I know.
Warren, how's that feel up there on the bridge? And you know that Pike brought back this freaking gigantic tooth yesterday, and that Westcott was going to cut into it. So now it's like probably around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, ship's time, and you're expecting some sort of update by now. At the very least, some sort of estimation of how old it is. And Westcott has not given you any sort of update whatsoever.
I call up Alita.
Mhm.
And I asked, do you have any idea where our patriot is, Westcott? And she will go, I checked in on the science lab. I didn't see her. I did, however, and then I will do an observation roll for investigator and see if there's any kind of information I can get from like
Sure.
where hidey hole might be.
Sure. Go ahead and make that observation roll, and we'll see how that plays out.
All the panic.
Oh!
Keeping it together.
He did with 3
Okay,
successes.
okay.
So I think at the least he knows where she is.
Roll a
Maybe.
d6.
Roll.
I have a table for this. Roll a d6.
Yeah.
That's just /roll base 1d6.
I am, if you find me, I am, according to my table, between several crates in the cargo bay, hiding. Maybe with bedding.
Maybe with betting. I love
Maybe.
that answer. Maybe
I'm
with
probably
betting.
sleeping,
Yeah.
actually.
Right.
Yeah.
Does find her. It takes probably a couple hours. And maybe a few questions of her siblings. Eventually, you find her in the cargo bay, and there she's definitely got it's an old Marine Corps standard issue sleeping bag.
So Alita's there. She's like, yes. So I did, however, find her, and then it just like flash cuts, and then like Alita and Warren are just like, Westcott, just like above her.
Just both of you. I'm picturing both of you, arms folded, looking sternly downward. Westcott just laying there
I
sleeping.
wake up enough to turn, I look at you with one eye, and then I go right back to plopping my face on the pillow.
Let me see here.
There's
You
a
know you-
reason Warren is listed as my rival, just so we're clear, and it's
I-
because of this.
I'm aware.
Now, in order to get the experience point, you have to stand up to him, though, and right now you're not. You're just laying right down. One could argue rolling over. For the pun.
Okay.
I roll so much, my eyes just fall out of my face, bro.
Yeah, I know. I saw it. I saw it happen.
What? That might not actually be very useful.
Luke's
I'm thinking
cooking something.
Yeah. You can push any skill-based roll on empathy twice. Okay.
Ooh, he's gonna do leadership stuff.
Yes.
I want to argue, by the way, that it's probably like 3 o'clock in the afternoon by now.
Yeah. Westcott, I know our history together. However, you do have a job to do. I'm gonna say this, that you did promise you were going to investigate that tooth. It's not hard to do. I'm telling you, this is now your time to get up and do that. Okay? And I'm going to, let's see here. command roll.
What a panic! But panic condition 0. That's amazing. Oh, you must have a -1 for stress roll or something.
No.
Yeah, you have a talent that's reducing that by 2.
Yeah, you must have.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I have nerves of steel.
That might do it.
Yeah. So
Let's just guys now. I believe you can oppose this.
You can oppose that.
no, I'm not actively trying to be like player difficult. I just think it's a good
Oh,
RP
absolutely.
moment.
Yeah.
So I would let that motivate my ass out of bed
Okay.
enough to like pretend like half-assedly do my job at least.
Phone it in. Sit there with a toothbrush over the tooth.
I
Yeah.
I only require half an ass.
I'm at least not sitting in my bedroll the entire day.
Mm-hmm.
All I want.
And
Now,
that
might
means
I
I can
fall off
justify
task
paying
in
you.
2 hours?
I love that line. It means I can justify giving you a paycheck.
Yeah.
All right. I suppose we'll be contesting that later. However, for now, you're not contesting that. Great.
Yeah, no. So I would slowly drag my butt up, drag my sleeping bag with me, and shuffle my ass up to the deck above to the bio
Kane,
center
I know
lab.
you've seen people try to walk with their sleeping bag on them still.
Mhm.
That's exactly what I'm picturing. Little footsteps, but slowly, because she's fighting the earth. She's resisting slowly.
I would have taken it out and rolled it up because I
tippy
am
toes.
short and would have fallen over. I would have gotten out of the sleeping bag and rolled it up because it's
I
the
like
only way I
the
can move it.
I like the sleeping bags with the 2 zippers. You can actually open up like one side and the other side.
Oh yeah.
Just like make it as a tube.
Make it a sleep tube.
Yeah, those are nice.
All right. I think that's a good place for us to.
Oh, I was gonna say,
sorry. Go ahead.
I'd like to have because we're here for a few days. It takes time to get places.
Mm-hmm.
Does Hamida catch up with me?
Ooh.
Would you like a scene
Yeah.
with Hamida? Because we could do a scene with Hamida.
Yeah, I mean, we challenged for a throwdown and we haven't talked since. We seem to at least be sort of at the onset seem to be like we might actually be friendly with each other.
Yeah. Where do you want to catch up to her? She's part of the security team or whatever, so she's, maybe she's, I don't know. Where do you want to catch her at?
I think we've all played Mass Effect, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When you go to try to work on your rep with Pike, he's standing in the cargo bay near his punching pipe. That's his place.
So I can't remember that kid's name now. That one lieutenant in Mass Effect 3. He's like a bit of
God.
the jockey dude.
Vega?
The jock
Vega?
dude. Is it Vega?
Vega. I think it was Vega.
No, I feel like Vega was a little bit older than that. But yeah, we know what we're talking. We all know what we're talking about here. Yeah. So she comes down and So she comes down and she's like, I heard Doblin said you got a punching pipe or something. Is that it?
Yeah.
All right.
I found it. Yeah,
Yep.
I'm pretty sure that's the dude you're talking about.
Yeah, that is exactly the dude. That's exactly the dude. And that's actually in focus compared to everything else in that shot.
Well, that's because I have the background blur, and when it's person,
Oh, yeah. Oh,
it figures
yeah.
out the person.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
I have to hold it within a certain distance of it for that to work.
Yep.
Oh, and his first name is James, by the way, according to Google.
Amazing. It is James. I do remember that now.
Is it James Vega?
Yes.
Yeah, it's Vega. I'm sorry. You were right. Yeah, so she comes down, she's like, so Doblin says you got this punching pipe and take a couple swings at it?
What is here for?
You gonna open this up for everybody, or is this just we gotta come and catch you while you're down here?
Nah, it's open for everybody. If you break your hands, it's your fault.
Seems fair. She goes up as she starts going into this thing. Let me see what her skills are, because oh yeah, she's got some dice. Oh. She's not.
She used to be a Marine. She better be good at this.
Yeah, I think honestly what happens is the first couple of strikes she like misjudges the distance or maybe the first couple of strikes are like she doesn't know.
Those air chops where you don't actually make contact.
Yeah, but also like there's a bit of like not necessarily trepidation, but because she doesn't know the exact construction of this punching bag, that's not really a punching bag. She's a little hesitant at first, and
especially
then
right after when he was like, "If you break your hands, it's your own fault."
yeah, and then she's like, okay, all right, well maybe I can hit it a little, and then just bam, 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 and she's like got this like the martial arts. I forget which. I think it's kung fu, but the one where they have that little pole with the little knobs on it, and they're doing all these little quick like 100 moves. Tell me,
Sure,
you guys
yeah.
know what I'm talking about. Jeez,
Yeah.
it looks like Kane, or it looks like Luke knows what I'm talking about.
Wing Chun.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, the pole and then the pole, and you're like,
Yeah, and you do like really quick movements. Well, I mean, I imagine you start off slow and move faster as you learn. But yeah, so
Yeah.
she just rips into this thing, and it's about a 5-minute ordeal, and you get the impression maybe that she's showing off.
hmm.
I mean, he's probably like, while she's doing that, he's probably got he's probably doing like an overhead presser. Like he's working out while he's
Mhm.
watching her work out. He's just like, yeah, all right.
He's over there benching like twice as much as a normal person should without
Probably
realizing.
benching twice his own body weight. Yeah, and then she stops after a moment. She just brushes some hair out of her face and looks at you like, "Oh, now that I'm warmed up, maybe you
Yeah.
and I could go around too."
He racks it.
Okay,
It's like
I gotta
I love
ask.
how there's like zero hesitation, which is exactly what I expect out of Pike, by the way.
Yeah.
Are you guys in Cargo Bay 1 or Cargo Bay 2?
I don't
Hold on,
know.
let me go to the
It's
go
the
to the
middle
map
deck.
so I can pick.
Uh,
Oh no, we're not in cargo. We're in the vehicle bay.
yeah,
We're on C deck.
that's where you set it up. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so Westcott is hiding in was sleeping in Cargo Bay 2. That's the only reason I ask.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, he racks his weight and he gets up and says, "What do you want the limits to be?"
She I'm trying to think of how I want to rephrase this. As well, I'm also checking all of her stats, so I don't do something that she absolutely can't do. I think she just smirks at you and just lunges and totally misses.
So smart people would go with the most conservative, which is like points or like simple restraint.
Okay, so I'm going to go for the block.
Yeah, obviously.
For the 1 point.
Yeah. And do you have that the hand-to-hand version of riposte where you could smack them back?
Well, that if you get more successes on the block, then those successes go through.
Yeah.
That's just an automatic thing.
Okay, gotcha. I thought that was a talent, but go ahead.
No. I do have talents that make this fucking terrifying though.
Now, I want to point out, when she hits you, obviously you're about to completely devastate her. She's in sparring mode. This isn't like full attack mode. So she's probably at like 50 or 60%.
She's doing subdual damage.
Yeah. Yeah, this is obviously meant to be a simple sparring thing.
And then that gives me,
As opposed to every time you guys have ever fought in like the kitchen or the cafeteria where it was like lethal damage.
Jesus.
Yeah, he has some practice on beating on me, so it's likely that she isn't going to insta die.
Okay, so I have 8 successes.
She
She
goes
got
prone
1.
twice.
she's got 1, so I cancel her 1, so I'm down to 7.
Mm-hmm.
So I will go for my base damage is 1. So I'm at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'll do 7 damage, and with my last success, I'll go for knock to the ground. So like she goes in for the punch and he just like punches her forearm to get it out of the way and follows through with an elbow to to like the side of her head and
Yeah.
sweeps her legs
Oh yeah.
and just puts a hand on her chest and slams her down onto the ground and
You-
then takes a
I
step
think
back.
you could tell by the time that entire exchange is done and you got a hand on her chest, she's on her back on the floor. She's out.
Okay, for the cameras that are down there, if she's losing consciousness while he's grabbing on to slam her to the deck, he's just going to grab onto her shirt and stop her from hitting the deck.
Okay. You have some dead weight in your hand right now. She's out. When you smacked her in the side of the head, it knocked her right the fuck out. Because you did a total of 7 damage and she only has 4.
So he's going to gently put her down. He's going to walk over to a panel on the wall, click the button and say, medic to vehicle bay. And then just like casually let go of the button. And then he's just going to go like sit next.
He's going to go keep working out?
No, he's going to sit on the ground next to her.
Okay.
And just like, put a hand over her mouth. She's still breathing.
Yeah. She's just knocked the fuck out. Like, I think you noticed when you connected with that elbow shot to the side of the face, it was a solid full connect. It might have been 100% when she was definitely coming at you at something less than that. It's hard for you to tell because you're augmented and all, not augmented, but an elemental basically.
He didn't I didn't use all of my stuff. He didn't think he was going that hard.
Yeah.
I think he thinks that he just caught her off guard.
Yeah.
And she wasn't prepared for his speed.
No, she was
in his
not.
mind.
Because remember, like, you're like, any rules or whatever exactly it was, and she's like, nope, bam.
Yeah. So he was like, well, and he was like, okay, well, headshots are in. So he's
Lakota comes down a few minutes. I'm sorry, I totally talked. Go ahead. Sorry.
He's sitting on the deck next to her. He's got he put her on top of he's probably taken his jacket off and rolled it up into using it as a pillow.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just sort of got her there in her stuff, anything that she put down to mess with the bag, he's got next to her. And he's sitting there waiting for whoever's going to show up since he got on the PA and was medic to vehicle.
I guess my question is, because Warren heard that obviously on the radio.
Yeah, on the PA.
But he was in cargo bay 1 or 2
I'm in the
minute
vehicle
ago.
bay. Oh yeah, you were in cargo.
Yeah, I was in
so you're a
cargo.
floor up.
I'm a floor up. There's an open to deck C.
So you can walk out to here and look down.
Yeah, I feel like I'd be here or here, and I would have probably heard the doop of the just elbow to the head, and it would have been what did I just hear?
And then the call on the PA, and you're like, God damn it, Pike.
Do you shout that out? Or is that just something you say to yourself?
Yeah, pretty much just say, what did I hear? And then Alita's what? I don't know, whatever. Probably just Pike working on his bag.
Intercom.
Yeah, and then the intercom.
So who is the
Medic?
designated medic, by the way?
That is Lakota Monroe.
Lakota and Alita has medical
That's
also.
right, I forgot Alita had some.
Well, I have 2 dots in it too, so.
Yeah, but it's not your job on the ship.
Yeah, Lakota definitely is going to come running in a minute or two, a few minutes. I mean, it's not like it's a big ship, but it's not a big ship, right? So she's going to come showing up. Go ahead.
I think officially Alita has to go down because Amita did not report that an injury was happening or that she was going to go down and check it out. So Alita has to go down too to be is everything okay?
Okay. Oh, that because Lakota didn't answer, I'm on the way or whatever.
Yeah.
I think she would have just been especially with the suddenness, totally unexpected medic in vehicle bay or whatever. I think she just would have grabbed a bag or a kit along the way and just head straight down there. She comes down and she does one of those she runs up and she does that skidding heel halt. She just looks at him what happened?
Training accident.
Why is the whole side of her face red?
Training accident.
I'm gonna need a little bit. By this point, she's got down on her knees next to Hamida, whatever her name is, and opened up her bag and start pulling out stethoscope and stuff like that. And she's like, I'm gonna need a little bit more than a training accident. What happened?
We were doing combatives.
Are you
Lights
two
out.
fucking? Oh my god. She just goes back into rifling into her bag and
And he just says like nonchalantly.
yeah, I know, I love
goes,
it.
he continues nonchalantly. He goes, I mean, I pulled the punch. I didn't break anything.
She just reaches into the bag and grabs like whatever the Space 80s version of smelling salts is, probably smelling salts. It cracks it open in front of her, and she's just like jolts awake. Pike, you catch a wee whiff of this because air circulation. You're like, oh, that's a potent shit.
Yeah, and he's got a hand on her chest to hold her down when she wakes up.
Yeah.
So because he doesn't know if she's gonna panic when she wakes up, or just like be disoriented and do something.
Oh, she definitely has that eyes darting back and forth trying to put things together. And then she's like, what the fuck? Ow!
He's looking at her, but he's like seated looking down at her, and he's just smiling. Says,
She looks at you, she looks at the doc, she looks at you again, she's like, asshole. And she looks at the doc, I'm fine, get off of me, please. And you, especially you, get off of me. Damn it, that hurt. She's like, starts to rub her jaw and shit.
and you didn't say no headshots.
I didn't give a shit. Okay, alright, you know what? I rushed it. That's my bad. Okay. You could see, like, if there was a look on somebody's face when they mentally tally somebody as, let's not fuck with that person ever again. That's the look you're getting as she's rubbing the side of her face.
Was Tan a convenient
just,
witness to this?
What's
he's
that?
just
Was Tan a convenient witness?
No, unfortunately, he's busy looking over the book of pages you printed off for him from the long data disc.
I mean, Pike is still smiling. He doesn't think anything bad has happened here, and he's just like,
I think
that
you
was
get
fun.
I think you get the sense of like she's a little upset, but she's also like in good humor, for lack of a better way to phrase
Yeah,
it.
wait, he's still smiling. He says, "You're fast.
Not fast
you.
enough.
I think maybe you underestimated how fast somebody this big can be."
You had this conversation before, I take it?
I've spent a lot of time teaching combatives.
Fair enough. Yeah, I should have known better. I'm gonna go take a shower and maybe sleep the rest of this one off.
Hey, Amita,
Yeah?
let's do this again sometime.
Yeah, you're wearing pads next time.
Okay.
Does the Lita roll in about right now?
Probably.
No, yeah.
I mean, he just says, "Okay, you set the rules."
Yeah, and to be clear, you're wearing, like, gloves is what she meant to say. Not so much that you're wearing pads. She's gonna be wearing pads.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Alina's
Alina
like-
probably walks in as Hamida is walking out, and Lakota is just like, well, that was a complete waste of my time.
And then Alina's like, okay, noted.
Yeah, I think Lakota just looks at you like, they duked it out over training or something,
Hmm.
and he won. I'm going back up to my... Oh, by the
That's
way,
probably for the best. Yes.
if you see Octavia, I need to get a session in with her. And that's where we're going to
Yeah.
leave it.
I'll pass off the message.
That's
I
where
like
we're
the
going to leave
idea
it.
that she says that and Pike just snorts in the background.
All right, let's talk experience points for the episode. Did you participate? Absolutely you did. Did you risk or sacrifice something to further your agenda? Pike, I think, is probably the only one that came close.
I specifically like fucked off and like told Alita what was going on to go do to get my agenda in.
Yeah, which is to go into the dark so others don't have to. Something like that.
Yeah, I mean,
And you
everybody
literally did
something. Yeah, something bad was going on, and he went to go try to deal with it alone instead of letting the others get put in potential danger.
that. Yep. So Pike can go ahead and take that one. Anybody else? I don't believe the answer is going to be yes, but I'll hear arguments. Do you
I
risk your...
haven't done. I failed my roll today. If I had done this without failing my roll, I would have made an argument for my agenda. But I didn't do it from my character's primary.
Sure. What's your
effort.
agenda?
Escape the pain at the moment.
Okay.
It's not a very
That's a very easily to interpret.
Nebulous.
Yeah, I feel like it's more of a she is not in the she needs to work on her mental health because she's in a very negative headspace type of way.
Yeah.
So if she actively fucked off with failing her depression check, I think it would have qualified, but she failed her check, so it's not an active engagement.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I mean. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
See where I'm going there?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did we have any life being risked for your battle buddies?
Mm-mm.
I'm not sure I could argue that. My buddy's Octavia.
Yeah, she was on the ship.
Yeah.
Pike was out doing stuff.
Mhm.
Did anybody challenge or stand up to your rivals? Westcott,
I
not
fuck
really, unfortunately.
It's the same problem. Because I failed the check and was forced to do it, it doesn't count. If I
Right.
had done it without failing the check, it would have counted.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, exactly.
I fucked with Alita.
Did you? Oh, you did when you gave her the barf bag.
I gave her the barf bag, and then I just straight up told her like, "You fucked up. You can fix this. I'll
Yep.
go do the mission without you."
And
Like,
Yeah.
she took that.
he
Yeah.
definitely shamed her in
Yeah.
public.
Go ahead and take that one for, I guess, challenging your rival. You didn't really stand up to her. You told her what's what.
Mm.
I challenged her in front of everybody.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah. You absolutely did. Panic rolls. We had a few of those tonight. I don't remember who specifically, but Alita.
Alita.
Definitely.
Yes.
I think they were all Alita.
They might have been.
Yeah, I didn't roll any.
I think I had one, but it didn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Dangerous event using violent or non-violent. I don't think we really had any really dangerous events. I think things got a little shifty. I didn't have anything dangerous or crazy written in for the plot tonight. So
I
unfortunately
actually
nothing
kind of
there.
like it that we were still doing stuff, but still had time to interact and roleplay.
I've been trying to make sure you guys have at least some, if not adequate or sufficient, much time for that, because there are a number of NPCs on the ship that you guys are that you should be getting used to or getting to know. Significant discovery or revelation? Yes, I'm going to award this. Well, let me ask this, Westcott. That logged entry of the ship arriving a year ago and Marauder 1 tags.
Everybody knows because I openly asked about it across comms.
All right, in that case, everybody gets that significant discovery revelation.
I asked everybody if they'd heard of it before because I
Yeah.
had not.
That's fair. You did. Extraordinary action? I don't think we really had any of those either.
I mean, I pulled a T-Rex skull out of the ice.
Okay, all right.
Okay, Kate, no.
right.
If
I
anyone
laid
gets
out
one,
the
it's
chief
Hamida for
security
doing that
person
level
in one
stupid.
shot.
Puck doesn't get
If
one for
anybody
smacking
gets one,
Hamida into the
Amita
ground.
gets one for
Hamida
attacking.
gets one for being dumb and attacking Pike.
I was thinking about that same time. I was like, I should probably be giving some of these NPCs at least a couple of points a week or per session or whatever, just to kind of.
The NPCs and all these are designed to not be progression characters.
Yeah,
That's
no,
supposed to be
I
a
know that,
PC
but
thing.
I also feel like if they stick around with you guys long enough, that at some point they should have slightly better skills
Mm-hmm.
for
Why don't you
and
do
when the
that
roles
on,
do
like,
matter.
story moments rather than worrying about tracking it? So if there's a story moment where it makes sense for somebody got better at something, give it to them, but until then, just ignore it. That way
Yeah.
you don't have to track like it does in character sheets.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
The only thing that I would be worried about with that is like in a lot of the other stuff that they have written, like some of these people, like you're not even you don't really, unless it's a direct contest, you don't even roll for them. You just choose whether they succeed or
Yeah.
fail. And I don't know how it's going to be in BBW, but in all their other stuff, a lot of these NPCs are written with the potential to be antagonists, and they're statted specifically to be the level of threat they're supposed to be at those points in the story.
Gotcha. I see what you're saying. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I don't know. I think I have enough, like, say so in the matter, too, where if I feel like somebody needs an extra couple of dice or something, I could just be like, I'm the GM, it says, I say so.
I mean,
I try
unless
not
it's
to
a
play that
contested
card a
roll.
lot.
I mean, that's where it's like, unless it's a contested roll, they don't roll.
Yeah.
So like if for example, Hamida, if you decide that we dock with Marauder 1 and like 30 guys roll onto the ship, you can just choose to decide that Hamida
Yeah.
walks through with a knife and kills them all.
Yeah, that would be... We call that the Warren maneuver, by the way.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
So that
um,
was
there's no grenade in that scenario.
That's true. That's
Amita
true.
can decide to just hack Pike's medical records to see what she can scrape out of the Marine database.
Yeah,
yeah.
if she wanted
Yeah.
to.
I mean, that's where the XP progression. That's where I don't think that they should be getting the XP stuff.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
That's my argument.
That's fair.
Well, yeah, you could just GM handwave most of their stuff. So.
This is also true. This is also true. On that note, feedback and other outro-based comments. What do you got for us, Rodance?
We all got paid. We get an XP for that.
Is that the precedent we set up with Platt's Outpost? I think we did, actually.
I say
Yeah,
it
because
because
you
we took the
submit the
time
reports
to
and stuff like that.
prospect.
We completed the survey.
Yeah. And then at some point, obviously, off-screen, Warren will be sending off the reports.
Mhm.
Oh,
Mhm.
fuck.
I think it's a little weird because these are like 1 or 2 session planet missions so far. We're not spending expanded time on them.
Yeah.
It'll slow
And both
down
of
when we
these
hit the
2
plot one.
planets were basically free and clear because there were no residents.
Yeah.
They had left or died.
Free
so-
experience.
It'll stretch out when we do the next one, because these 2 felt like they were the random gens, so the third one's probably going to be the long one. Oh, shocking! I failed a wits roll.
I mean, it's a literal 1 in 6 chance, brother.
Oh, what were you going for? I'm curious.
Hidden pocket.
What were you, I'm sorry, I was yawning. What were you trying to do?
Hidden pocket.
Is that your prison wallet? Don't answer that. Rodance, you got any feedback or outro comments?
I am still laying the groundwork for the problems that a mentally damaged Octavia Westcott is going to cause the rest of y'all. But I feel like it's getting there, so it feels like it's not just random dropped on you.
Appreciate that. I can't wait to see what kind of bullshit that you have thrown at me, the GM, instead of the GM throwing it at the players.
I don't want it to be like, I feel like it's a story element, but I don't want it to be like the overriding story element. You know,
Excuse me.
the same way that, Pike smashing everybody's face in isn't the overriding story element until we, fuck around and find out.
Yeah. Luke, you got any feedback, outro comments?
No, not really. I think it went pretty well today. As far as like pacing, you were right about what you were saying about giving more time and more space between little things to have like role play moments.
Mhm.
I think this was like one of the first times we've actually ever used a rest to go down a stress.
Yeah, well, I mean that one. I think
We
the
normally
argument there
push-
with digging the ATV out and being able to use that and justify that as a -1 stress moment actually makes sense because like we've all been there where we're like just super frustrated about something, but the minute we go do something mind-numbingly boring like shovel snow,
Yeah.
suddenly we feel better 5 or 10 minutes later. It doesn't. We don't have to necessarily feel a lot better. We just feel a little better. The
Yeah,
world
exactly.
isn't so bad now.
I already have hidden stash. I came with it. Not bad.
Whoops. You already had a prison wallet. Look at that.
I had to get creative in carrying things while I was out in that fucking jungle for almost a year by myself.
Yeah, that checks out.
Don't you understand that's where his woolly man beard came from when he
Yeah,
was
well, also now that I
died
think
under
about it,
there?
I thought we weren't going to mention the jungle in particular on the air, but that's okay. It'll come out in the story. Speaking of jungles
things will come up.
and pocket, well, just pockets. Luke, I'm sorry, Kane. God damn it, Kane. What do you have for feedback, outro comments?
I'm really looking forward to Hamida enabling Pike to regress even harder. He's just trying to find ways to just do things like they were before on the ship.
That's the best part about that though is that is a normal thing. I struggle with this myself on my day to day. 5 and 6 years ago, when I first started working for FedEx, I had a fairly regular series of numbers that I could spec day to day as far as how many stops, how many packages. And then COVID happened, and then we picked up some other stuff. My numbers basically doubled overnight. And then we have holiday period where the numbers are even higher. And then we get to this point where I'm at now, where it doesn't matter what time of year it is, the numbers stay the same. What changes is the area I drive. And then roughly the number of hours I'm out every day doesn't change either. And I find myself often wanting things to go back to normal, way they were a few years ago, and they're just not. It's almost unrealistic to have any sort of expectation in that matter. So Pike being in that situation of this is all new hat to him and wanting to go back to old hat because it's comfortable, it's familiar, it's safe, which is a very loose term in this case, is completely understandable and realistic.
Yeah, and it gives him a position where he's like, because he's aware of the fact that Warren is not trying to get the crew together. And he's like, okay, well, I mean, that's Warren's job. I did that. I united them and suck. Like I brought the team together probably to hate me until they liked me.
Right.
But to give them that unity so that they would cooperate and know each other. And he's not. So Pike is now trying to do that thing in the backside where he's like, okay, well then I guess I'll do that for him. I'm going to try to like meet all the people in the crew and try to become part of his team, even if he's not going to make his team be a team.
Right.
I owe this to him to try to be the best, try to be as cooperative as I can.
Why do I feel like Pike is going to buy Warren a How to Be a Leader manual, and the first 3 chapters is how to have team building exercises?
Well, the funny part about that, and Kane, I'm sure you know where I'm coming from, and you guys may have encountered the civilian side. There's always 2 leaders in a group. There's the official leader, and then there's the leader that gets shit done. And that's not necessarily in opposition to each other either.
Sometimes they're even the same person.
They can be, yeah. But you have the leader who's, the captain, the lieutenant, the platoon sergeant, and then you have the unofficial leader, usually a junior enlisted guy, specialist, corporal, sergeant, that somehow manages to motivate people to work together in ways that the official leadership really doesn't. And the leadership doesn't necessarily care to, like a good leader, they'll be curious about how it's happening, but they're not going to interfere with it, because at the end of the day, everybody gets the cool points when it's mission success.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, that'll be interesting to see how Pike transitions from where he was to where he is to where he could be. It'll be an interesting arc.
Yeah, I mean, he thinks so far, right? The only 2 people on the ship that he expressly has no interest in being around is Tan and Lakota right now.
And why Lakota, just out of curiosity?
Just because she's the shrink.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
It's because Westcott doesn't like her.
It's not even personal. It's because of what she's supposed
what she
to
is.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But he does genuinely want to meet everybody else in the crew and try to at least get some sort of like we can work together rapport.
Right.
Yeah.
He doesn't expect anybody to like him, but he wants to make it so that he can work with as many people on the ship as possible.
And that's another common military aspect too, is we don't have to like each other, we just got to work with each other.
Yeah, I expect that Warren will eventually make us have a crew dinner all together.
I'm waiting for it.
Yeah.
I need Warren to start being the leader he was meant to be.
Okay.
I'm fucking with you, man. You're good. Do what you got to do. Listen, play your character the way you want. Don't let me interfere.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's we haven't had any contention yet, so it hasn't been something that's been super necessary, but I do see the point.
All the contention you've had to deal with has either been solved before you get to it, or right, like,
or Blatchman,
or yeah,
right, like, or like it solves itself without you needing to step in. Like my issue with Tan, you walked in prepared to deal with it, and Pike just like, I mean, you said I will get in a lot of trouble if you do that, and Pike said okay.
Mm-hmm.
He just walked away from Tan. Still hates his guts. Isn't gonna kill him, but like.
Yeah.
Well, as far as like a game mechanic goes, I need to do my homework a little bit more now that I no longer need to do my homework. Yeah, and not necessarily get more involved, but like I definitely need to get more into a mode that is conducive to like making this into a good game too on my side, right? I enjoy the game, but I do need to set a couple things on my characters, such as like agendas and things like that, which I haven't had the chance to do. So I've been lagging a little bit behind you guys for a little bit, and I'm like, I feel bad.
That's understandable. I mean, everybody has various obstacles of all sorts that can interfere with, putting a character
Yeah.
together in the best light that they should be in. But it is what it
Yeah,
is.
and
Like,
I mean,
we get there when we get there.
I mean, because Warren is not the same person he was a year ago. But then
Mhm.
again, he still has to be like he can't just ride on the same things. But then again, I did just cram like a year and a half worth of math in like I don't know, what was it, like 3 weeks? Yeah, I'm exhausted, okay?
I got you, brother. I
I
got
actually
you.
have an idea for
I'm
that.
I'm looking
Um,
forward to some of this, right? Like, with the exception of Pike, everybody else has had some sort of like change away from the Marines,
Yeah.
and they're meeting together and sort of seeing how they're different now. And Pike is there as the representation of what you guys left a year ago, and he's sort of the metric that you guys can measure your change against because he is
Which
regressing.
is
Mhm.
which is close to what the agenda was going to be for Warren in the first place. And I have an idea for why I gathered all of the characters back together for this mission. I just need to develop it more.
There you
So,
go.
Yeah.
Omar, you know how we had forced R&R sessions?
Yeah.
We should have a forced team dinner every so often.
Mm.
I'm certainly not going to get in the way of that. I can't. I mean, I could force it, obviously, but I'm not going to force a thing like that. I think the captain should do that.
Okay.
I mean, that's
I don't know if this is exactly how it's going to play out, but I imagine coming into this that we would do these 3 surveys and then go back to the fleet. And for like resupply and for like preventative maintenance and shit, like we'd probably be in the fleet for a little bit before we get our orders to leave again for the next set of planets. They've got to review data and whatever. I thought that was probably going to be our baked in R&R to just be in the fleet.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I had considered how the cycle was going to go, and more or less these three target systems, and then you go back for a refit. And I don't know if I was necessarily going to go as hard as I did with like Marine Country 1, 2, 3, and then the next big mission or what have you. I was gonna honestly, I considered following a similar path and just kind of playing that part out by ear. Because especially with the fact that we've got like effectively we have two random generate missions and then we have one main mission per cycle. I feel like things are kind of slow and easy, and then boom, drama, 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 conflict, 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 stress, 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 and then it kind of resets back to, you know, we're back to the three missions. We've got one or two easy ones. We've got another one or two easy ones, and then we got bam, 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 bam. So
You know what
I,
I'm really, I know this is sort of a tangent, but a scene that I'm really looking forward to, speaking of like the downtime stuff,
uh-huh.
I'd imagined and I really want to find a way to engineer this to happen where we get to the fleet. We've spent this time together as a crew. Somebody tries to fuck with Tan, and Pike is 100% like,
No,
get the
that's
fuck
my
off.
punching bag.
Yeah, that's my shitbird. Get the fuck away from him. And he stands up for Tan because he's part of the crew. And leave Tan
Wow.
leave Tannen is confused, like, what the fuck? I thought he hated me. Why is he standing up for me? I don't understand.
Amazing.
It's because
I'll
he
have to
hates
come
you.
up with a scene where that can happen. I'll see what I can
Because
do.
because Pike he's gonna be that classic, unit loyalty.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's the guy who's gonna
No
be like,
one
oh,
has to
somebody.
bully my brother but me.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody
Well,
fucks with my brother or sister but me.
somebody on the other side of the bar punched a Marine that I've never met before, but I'm a Marine, so let's fucking go.
Yep.
Like that's
Oh, yeah.
that's Pike. That's Pike.
Oh yeah.
He's gonna he doesn't have we'll have our problems, but he's gonna defend his crew.
God, I feel like we're all gonna walk around with like green bandanas or something just so Pike can pull us out of the crowd and knows to fuck everyone
Warriors,
else
come
up.
out and play.
Bottles.
All right, my friends, that is it for us here tonight. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for hanging out. Hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, please consider pushing all the buttons, all the likes, follows, subscribes, etc. If you're watching this on YouTube, in the description below, you can find a link for our Discord server. You can come hang out there. If you're watching us live during a stream on Twitch, of course, all you have to do is type Discord into the stream chat. You can get the link that way as well. In the meantime, we are out of here. Stay safe out there, my friends. This world is a crazy dark place. So make sure you're doing what you got to do to take care of you and yours. And as for me and mine, we're out of here. See you next time. Have a good one.